The ASL is back once again for its 19th season. Hello everyone. Countless players are working their hearts out to reach the top, and this stage of dreams returns as ASL for the opening day. I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you here today, and to commemorate this occasion, to celebrate this occasion, the CEO of Soup, Kevin So, joins us today. Please give him a warm round of applause. Mr. President! Wow! Mr. President! Microphone. What other way to kick this ASL off than with the CEO himself? Yes, hi, it's been a while since I came to the ASL, right? Look, I brought this thing with me. Why do you think I brought it? Giveaway. But first, we are coming back as the ASL. I want to start with an apology, as we return to the ASL name. Look, ASL is ASL, and there was no need for a change. We were short-sighted. And so we are back as ASL. We are back as the 19th season. It's been 10 years, starting with the National Star League in 2015. And back then I thought, let's make it to 44 seasons. We have made it to the 19th now, right? We made it to the 19th season thanks to your love and support. And we will continue. So, I'm just up here. I didn't want to just talk, so I brought merch to give away. But I can't just give it out like that, right? Right. So, let's do a StarCraft-related quiz. Let's go one by one here at the studio, and 6 people online who answer the quickest in the chat to this first question, and whoever raises their hand first. Now, the first question is for 6 months of QuickView Plus. First question. Up until Season 18, name the company and product for the biggest sponsor of ASL. That guy, all the way in the back. Shout it out, please. Hat 6? No. Oh, this guy. No, what? Wait. Over here. He was quicker. Louder. Lotte Hot 6? Lotte Chilsong Hot 6. That's the correct answer. Congratulations. So, 6 people in chat will receive QuickView Plus, and I'll give you a gift card for balloons here. Wow. Once again, congratulations. Lotte Chilsong Hot 6, and 6 people in chat. This is the first season of ASL without a sponsor. Right. You guys need to buy their products, man. Then we can get sponsors and continue running the tournaments, right? Right. Now, the second quiz. The second question. I'll give you Soup t-shirts. 2 people in chat and 1 person here. Things get difficult from the second question. Let's go back to 2011. When the scene was in chaos because of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. That was the time I was the owner of a team. I wanted to bring over a female player for the first time, and the coach was in agreement with me. When I was the owner, who was the coach and who was the female player? 2 names, 2 people. There. Wrong. The name of the coach and the name of the female player I wanted to get for our team. It was a female player. Coach and female player. The name of the coach of We Made Fox at the time and the player we wanted to buy but couldn't do so. The chat has got the right answer. Fox. We Made Fox. Who was the coach of Fox then? The chat. Oh, wait. Over there. Wow. Coach Kim Yang-jung and player Tosco. That is the correct answer. Wow, amazing. You're getting a soup t-shirt and our managers will pick the winners in chat and deliver them to those people. And lastly, the ASL uniform. One person here, it's limited edition. And one person in chat too. This one is a little difficult. When I was the owner of We Made Fox, I was the legal guardian, legally, for 2 players. Oh, over there. Wow! How did you know? When mine was in 1st grade high school and TY was in 2nd grade middle school, I was their legal guardian. Congratulations! He got it right straight away. What a true StarCraft fan. Wow, congratulations once more. I did not expect the people here to get the questions right so quickly. I was surprised too. One more thing. It's been a while since I came down here, so I bought everyone burgers from Lotteria. Oh, I think they're here. Yeah, I think they're here. So please enjoy the burgers. Love and cheer for ASL, please. And thank you. Mr. President, will you join me in kicking things off? Oh, okay. Okay, let me close by saying how grateful we are. Let's get past season 44 and go all the way past season 100. Of course. Oh, the burgers are here. Oh, you gotta pay. All right, I gotta pay. Thank you, Mr. President. He bought Lotteria burgers for everyone in the audience tonight. Wow. Thank you one more time. Wow, he's even signing the bill on stage. Wow. Oof, okay, the payment went through. Okay. Thank you once more. And now it's time. Let's kick ASL Season 19 all together here. I will start. ASL Season 19. The opening match starts now. With a spring breeze, the ASL returns. Welcome to the opening match of Season 19. With a three-peat in the preceding season, Sulky ushered in a new era. As we wonder what sort of history awaits you this season, let's have a word with our players ahead of this opening day. Hello, hi guys. Let's start with Tier 1 player Mini. This is your 17th appearance in a row already. You're making quite a mark. But during the qualifiers this season, You expressed your dissatisfaction. It seems this time the qualifiers went differently for you. How was it? I do make it through, but I always seem to be having a tough time. The same goes for the round of 24. You have a hard time and still advance, and that's what makes your games ever so good. There is a lot to be expected this season as well. Now, the players in Group A with you in this round of 24, you are quite familiar with, you go way back with, which makes me think when this group was decided, you must have smiled to yourself. Was that the case? Were you smiling? Honestly, I just thought that it would have been difficult to get a group that's better than this. Oh, that was the meaning of the smile. It's because it's good? Right, but I've never made it out of the round of 24 in first place. After Season 5, I always made it through in second place. So today is scary regardless. Good but scary, scary but good. You seem conflicted. Oh, if I lose, I'll get made fun of. It's a little scary. Shuttle and Calm are suddenly looking glum. We'll get to them in a second. Let's first turn to Scan. You're following up last season with another appearance. This is your third time, which makes me think you've probably gotten your nerves under control now. Step by step, now making it 3 times. I am a little less nervous each time, and today I'm not as shaky as well. However, you still do not have a victory in the tournament under your belt. It's a record that makes having expectations rather difficult, but looking at Group A, there has been talk that perhaps this is a chance for you to score that first win. I wonder what your take on that is. The opening game against Mini will be tough, however you look at it, but the 2 remaining players next to me... Oh, you said remaining, curious choice of words. Okay, the other 2, let's say. Anyhow, I'm fine with them in comparison with the other groups. Now, Group A's Tier 2 player Shuttle, let's talk. Hi. Doing away with the pain of defeat in the qualifiers last season, you succeed in making your return to the tournament proper. I hear you are motivated more than anyone else this season. Right. Let's start with your condition. How are you feeling? I think this is the season where I've practiced the most ever since Season 1. For real? I practiced off-stream as well. I used to tell the fans I practiced in secret before when in reality I hadn't. But this time I did it for real. You're not faking this time? I practiced diligently and I focused on fundamentals on ladder. Shuttle says with confidence this is the most he has practiced since his championship run. I heard you said you were filled with content looking at this group. If this was a best of 3, it would be tough, but you expressed that in a best of 1 you could even take on Mini. Having practiced, are you still of the same mind now that you can take him? There is variables in a best of 1, so I have a chance of beating Mini, but in the same vein, I can lose to these 2 punks, Scan and Calm. That's correct, right? So actually I'm not a big fan of best of 1. With these 2 hillbillies, yeah, I'm a little uneasy. Shuttle mentioning these 2 punks, as you said, there's a bit of wordplay, but I wonder what you'll show today. Now, this guy we haven't seen in a while, it's Calm. Hello. Yes, hello. You're back in the tournament for the first time in 3 seasons. How are you feeling ahead of the games here on the offline stage? If it's just 3 seasons, then it's quicker than before. Not bad. Wow. Yeah, I warmed up and it's not bad. Not bad? Yeah, not bad, so I should do well today, I think. You must have warmed up sufficiently during the qualifiers too. Right. On day 2, you beat Terra 2-1 in the round of 4, and then Harangi in the finals with a 2-1. Yeah, I wanted to warm up, so I made it 3 maps in both on purpose. It was an uphill battle, you ended up winning, and seeing how you've sufficiently warmed up, you must be going into today filled with a sufficient amount of confidence. That's right, I always aim to play the most in the qualifiers, warm up, get going. I have a best of one left against Shuttle. What a side-eye. A player like that, yeah, I will get the victory. When it's my time, but at least I'll take this one guy down. If you have to go, you have to go. If I have to, I will, but I'm taking him with me. This match is a hot topic then. We will jump into a more detailed discussion about Group A, but this deep history between the two is something to behold. If we talk about Mini and Scan, this is your second time meeting in the round of 24 already. Right. And in the previous season, you, Mini, took Scan down with Reaver play. It must be a painful memory for Scan. What do you think, Mini? Is today going to be as easy of a game for you? You know, I'm not very familiar with Scan's playstyle. It's still scary, despite me beating him last season. I still can't really feel it. Scan, as soon as I mentioned the Reaver harass, you shut your eyes tight. It looks like you're reliving a nightmare. Surely this time you have to show a different side than last time. A player like Mini knows how to use Reavers extremely well. I was flabbergasted when we played. Stuff like that usually doesn't faze me, but actually having to play against it on stage, I was missing all the stuff I should have been looking at. It was hectic. Even someone as experienced as Calm or Shuttle couldn't help but be dumbfounded by Mini's Reavers. Let's talk to those two. The match between Shuttle and Calm. Both adamant they can't lose. They will not lose this one, as they both say. Now, Calm, you said you will rip that mole off of Shuttle's face. He will take it off and everything else with it. Shuttle, do you think you can go tit for tat with him? I don't know what his problem is. I show up to the green room and he's got murder in his eyes, like, you're dead. I genuinely thought he wants to get rid of me. It feels like he's got something prepared. He could be bluffing. I should be scared. It's a best of one after all. I am worried, but Calm and I, we've known each other for a long time, and the fans, you know, we go back and forth, winning, losing, but the loser always has to face backlash. It's not a joke. For real, if I lose to Calm, I'll be the butt of everyone's jokes, the obscenities people will throw at me. The worst kinds of obscenities. I mean, losing on a big stage like this, an official match, I won't be able to live a normal life. So above all, it seems I have to win today. I've talked to you for so long, and I've never seen your hands tremble so in an interview. Oh, they are trembling. This is the most you've ever been stressed, it seems, and that's because Calm. The last time he made it in, he beat Sulky, he beat Rain, he won his group and advanced. Calm, if you were to show the same force today as you did last time, you could beat Shuttle as you make your way into the round of 16. It might be worth looking forward to. Right. But first, honestly, I'm not in the greatest mood today. Why is that? Look at my younger brother. I mean, if he's going to sit there, not even taking his hat off, it's just, oh, he is impertinent. You want me to just sit there and say nothing? He needs disciplining. Yes, he does. I'll discipline him through the game. A golden lesson in life from Calm? Yes. Very curious to see what comes of it. To be honest, I am interested to see what Mini has to say about this match between Shuttle and Calm. What do you think these two guys' match will be like? You've got front row seats to this match after a long time. Who will win? In my opinion, you know, the first map is a two-player map, and a two-player map will be won by Shuttle. Oh? So Calm's disciplinary action will not work on Shuttle? But if they meet in the final match, I would expect Calm to take it, because it's a four-player map. Mind games work well on four-player maps, not so much on two-player maps. Calm's brain won't find purchase? I think so. If he manages to pull it off against Shuttle on a two-player map, hats off to him. Shuttle can't hide his smile. Everyone here is probably eager to find out what will come out of this. Let's hear our players' final resolutions. Mini? It's been so long since I took first place in a group. Whatever comes, I will advance in first place today. Looking forward to it. Scan? I've not been able to win on stage yet, so today I'll try to get one victory. Can't wait. Shuttle? I just got a call from someone. Terra called me. He told me to do well. He cheered me on. He gave me time off of our academy team, Sinai, to practice, and I'll pay him back with a good result today. Thanks, everyone. Fighting. Got it. And finally, calm. I beat some streamers and advanced. I'll show you those guys when weak opponents. Looking forward to it. Thanks for the interview. Show us good games. And that does it for our opening interview with the 4 players ahead of the opening day of the round of 24 upon this return of the ASL for its 19th season. Which 2 will make it through to the round of 16? Let's kick things off and find out.
What's up, everybody? ASL is finally back, and yes, it's back to calling it ASL. SSL was a phase. SSL was like Jinko jeans or the bowl haircut.
Yes.
It was an experimental phase, but we're going back to, thank God, the original name of the tournament, the ASL.
Well, hopefully it's not one of those phases that's going to cycle back in 20 years, and when we're getting ready to do ASL number 50 or something, they're like, you know what? The SSL idea was actually really good. Let's go for that again.
No, I'm a little nostalgic for that whole year of SSL.
Yeah.
Obviously, they rebranded to SSL because Africa TV has rebranded to Soup. But, you know, whenever you change names like this to tournaments, not everybody's up to date on companies making these big changes. Not everybody. I mean, a lot of people, as an example, would come by my Twitch stream and be like, so what happened to ASL? There's this new SSL tournament. And I think, oh, yeah, this is what happened. So,
yeah.
Anyways, guys, 19 amazing seasons. Well, 18, I guess. We're going to be starting here on Season 19. And thank God, man, it's been a little bit of a slow time for StarCraft in general.
Yeah.
StarCraft 2 in kind of a weird spot. We're still waiting to see what the schedule will be for this year, if there will be a schedule for this year. But StarCraft 1 in Korea going strong as always.
Yeah, and it's going really, really well. Everyone is in super good shape. And in fact, this is like, if you just take out the fact that Flash isn't in this season, this is like overall, I think, the highest skill level. Like, I think every single player in this tournament right now is insanely good. It doesn't feel like anyone is here by mistake.
Yeah. I want to talk about that for a second. We thought Flash was going to be playing. It looks like he's got issues with his wrist. From what I understand from my research, he might be having a metal plate removed. He had some things inserted years ago, and sounds like it kind of flared up. So, you know, we're wishing him the best. I'm sure he will eventually be back full-time. He was streaming, but obviously, when you get an injury like this, the last thing you want to do is exacerbate it any further. By the way, we had the schedule on screen here. If you're going to come to Korea and watch ASL, it's Mondays and Tuesdays. Keep in mind there is a 1-week break between the round of 24 and the round of 16.
Yeah. And, of course, we'll have that group nomination done for you guys as well. That's always a lot of fun. This season's map pool, Eclipse comes back. Dominator, Radeon, and Deja Vu all come back, with Dominator and Deja Vu having a few changes. And then we have Death Valley, Metropolis, and Polestar added in. Polestar is a pretty standard map. Metropolis is a little bit crazy, and Death Valley is just insane. It is such a crazy map.
Yeah, it's a wild map. It's going to be very fun to see what kind of strategies are used here. But overall, I think the map lineup's really good. I think we have a lot of maps that are basically solid and have some of the key foundations of what a good StarCraft map is, with 1 or 2 spicy ideas in there.
You know, this is our lineup of the round of 24 players. Obviously, we have 4 players awaiting in that next round, the round of 16. And it is like a who's who. There are a couple players that are missing. Shine didn't make it in. That was kind of a big surprise. He's in great shape right now. And JYJ didn't make it in either, which I was pretty surprised about. But definitely got outplayed by Tyson in those qualifiers. So, yeah, these are our groups. Do any stand out to you, Tasteless?
You know, it's going to be really fun to do Group E and kind of see what happens. I think Eski is an interesting player. I'm very curious, you know, how he does. If you've been following StarCraft for a long time, you know, there's players that have been around forever, like Bisu, who basically never went away. There's players that, you know, like Jadong that went to StarCraft 2 and then came back. Players, if you didn't follow the early days of StarCraft 1, like Royal, you might not have known about it all. But it's crazy when we get even fresher faces than that.
Yeah. And we really do have a lot of those fresh faces. In fact, one of them here in Scan, a good buddy of mine, he has qualified here once again. I'm really excited to see him play tonight. This is a great group. Mini and Shuttle, obviously kind of the favorites here. Mini, you know, I mean, Mini's so unbelievably good, but sometimes he makes questionable choices in best of ones. And then, you know, Calm can cause some upsets. I do want to throw that out there. Like, Calm is kind of one of these guys like Shuttle that kind of gets made fun of, but honestly is ASL level. So, yeah, maybe he gets teased by the very best players in the world, but he can beat everybody.
Yeah. Look, you're totally right about Mini occasionally making odd build order choices in best of ones. I think he is better off in a bracket with as many games as possible. I think he's shown quite a range. Shuttle, I'm not sure if he's going to make it today. I've been poking my head into streams in the evenings over here in Korea, and he looks good, but he just kind of looks like a weaker version of a lot of the other Protosses that we're used to casting, you know?
Yeah, sure. Can't really deny it too much, but he is really good. Like, he's in every single season. He makes upsets sometimes. But we're going to get into our first match here. Mini, of course, should be one of the favorites of the tournament. Like, this guy is someone you expect to get minimum round of 8 every season. And, of course, you can see, like, his resume is insane. Champion, 3 runner-ups, and a round of 4 on top of that as well. That is 4 of the 18 finals we've had. He's been there. That is a crazy amount.
And he has approached the game very differently in a lot of the matchups. I mean, he was doing a lot of 2-base carrier PvT, if you guys remember, versus Rush. He did a lot of, like, mass DT play in PvZ, like early game DT, where he might have, like, the fastest DTs possible or make, like, 4 or even 6 DTs, which people really weren't doing. And even now, it seems like people don't really do that much. So, you know, he's approached the game from a different angle. I think he's probably one of the harder players to prep verse. So certainly Mini's favorite to go on here. Scan, a guy, I know you're closer to him than I am Tastosis, but I occasionally text him for help in the game. He's a very friendly guy.
Yeah.
Great English. It's going to be a tough one for Scan, but I do feel like Scan has really gotten very comfortable in this atmosphere. And I think his play is looking strong. So this should be a good match.
Yeah, it's his 3rd ASL, so I think he's ready to maybe have a chance to move up here to this round of 16. The first game here, or the first couple games here, will be on Eclipse. This is a best of 1. Eclipse can be a little bit hard for Terran, but Scan is a smart player. He's very steady, and I think if he plays a nice defensive style, he's going to have a chance here against Mini.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more opportunities for the Protoss early game, just because it's a 2-player spawn map. And I think it's hard for Terran to get a 3rd base on this map, you know, depending on how you play it. But I'm curious how Scan's going to approach it. Again, Mini has occasionally made choices that maybe were a little bit too risky, especially versus players that he's probably better at. I mean, he's a real corner cutter. But, you know, he's coming back into this ASL hungry to win this. Like you were saying earlier, 3 runners-up and 1 championship, as well as a round of 4 is insane. But it goes to show you he could have possibly had 4 championships, right? We could have been talking about this guy in a completely different way. And you have to imagine he knows that. And whatever wrinkles he has in his play, he's probably ironed out. Guys, we're ready to get into this. ASL Season 19, Group A, Game 1 starts now. Okay, we've got Scan here in the top right as the blue Terran, and Mini here in the bottom left as the red Protoss. Guys, we're so happy to be back.
Yeah.
We missed you. Yeah, I always feel great after we finish a season of ASL, and as a student of the game still, I'm always happy to get on the ladder and like try to test out all the stuff I learned. But man, you know, after a while, I really want to start casting again. I really want to see the new meta in the most competitive format. Got a Scan sign here in the audience. So we're so happy to be back. Consider supporting us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. You guys are keeping us with the ability to keep doing this. So consider signing up for a year. We love you guys. You are the best.
Yeah, and big thanks to everyone who has signed up over the years here for the Patreon. Thank you very much, guys. So, man, I am like really, really pumped right now. You know, I was a little bit unhappy to see Eclipse added back to the map pool. This is a map that we have. It's like our two-player fighting spirit. Like, Eclipse has been around for so long, and when it finally rotated, I'm like, okay, finally. And then we had Minstrel, which I actually thought was a really fun, cool map.
Yeah.
But, you know, with Eclipse being back, this is kind of the map where we really figured out how to play on two-player maps from basically every single side. You know, this is really the modern-day two-player map that people think about.
So I think one of the reasons why people got exhausted from this map is that it was in the map pool on ladder for like 2.5 years or something, maybe even longer. So I think people just got, you know, you get map fatigue after a while, right? So in this game, Mini's gone with a pretty common, frankly, pretty old idea, which is to go for the gas steal because there's only 2 spawns. So it's nearly impossible for the Terran to prevent you from actually getting up there and taking that gas. In this case, he actually made his pylon and his gateway on the low ground. This is also another very old idea. And by the way, old doesn't mean bad. It just means it's been in the game for a long time. And with this, it gets the Zealots here a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Terran can be tempted with the extra minerals to try to make a command center. And this also functions as a wall for later on. So you can send the Zealots across the map. You could go for gas, although it seems like all the Korean players tend to go for a Nexus off of this.
Yeah, that's really kind of come along as the best way to play. And I got to tell you, like, I get confused when Protoss players make their gateway in the main base when doing an offensive gas. I think what Mini has done here is by far the best you can do. Like, you know, if the gateway's in the main, it's actually really easy for Terran to make a bunker and expand still. When it's there, the difference in travel time makes a huge difference when trying to defend everything, blow up your gas, get a bunker, get a command center, and all that. So I think, you know, Mini's going to be able to put on a little bit of pressure with these Zealots and keep himself safe while he gets his Nexus up.
Yeah, that Nexus will start a little bit before the command center. 3 Marines and an SCV can barely beat a Zealot, so he's going to have to stay back and wait for the next Zealot here. And this is, you know, whether it's Mini or Bisu or even Snow, we've seen this back and forth a lot in, I would say, the last 5 seasons of ASL. I mean, it's been a very common interaction. Terran's got to be careful to not lose too many Zealots. It looks like the damage, actually, we have Zealots kind of double hitting there, so some wasted shots.
Dude, that was really well done by Scan. That almost went to Mini. Like, Scan had his SCV behind the Zealots, and he had to drill it to the main minerals and get back in time after it moved like a centimeter and stop it. But in between the Marines and Zealots, he did that like perfectly. That was really, really good, quick micro from Scan.
It did feel like a little bit of an overextension. You know, you don't have to throw the Zealots in there like that. A lot of times what you want to do is try to get a kill or 2 and then run back. You know, the Marines are not going to heal. The SAVs are not going to heal unless they're repairing each other, which basically doesn't happen in a game like this. The shields will regenerate.
Yeah.
But overextending like that, I mean, not the end of the world, but definitely Mini's going to have to be very careful with the few units he has here. We've also seen with this opening from Protoss, occasionally they'll save the 3 Zealots total and try to run by the bunker and run up there and try to kill the SCV making the factory.
Yeah. Don't think we'll be seeing that this time. He already lost too many Zealots to get that going.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Had he not lost those 2, he could have maybe tried to create that kind of opportunity. Mini, look at this. I think it's going to be a proxy Robo, if I had to guess.
I think you're right, and I think that's because the SCV got easily into the main. Wow, he is going to run by. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I don't think this is a very good move from Mini. He's looking for Scan to screw up here, and Scan's micro has already been so on point. I don't think that's going to occur. He's making a vulture.
Well, I guess the idea.
Yeah.
No, I would. Sorry to interrupt you. I guess maybe the idea is like if he can just slow the factories down and get the Reaver out as fast as possible. Like if you get a kill on 1 or 2 tanks and there's nothing to fight the Reavers, a lot of times you can win the game. But those 2 Zealots could have been put in the shuttle with the Reaver as well, right, as a tool.
Yeah, that's very true. He might have to make more Zealots if he wants that type of tool, or maybe he loads a Dragoon up, which isn't anywhere near as scary going in that shuttle. But, you know, the thing is, like, that felt a little bit wasteful, because so he's lost like 4 Zealots now. And he hasn't really done damage. It's like, yeah, an SCV died, a few Marines died. The thing is, you don't really care if your Marines die. You know, you're totally fine with that here. They don't scale up at all. It's like they're only for this early game defense anyways.
Yeah, you basically just make the Marines because you need something to sponge up damage. You need something to fight against the initial Protoss units that are basically just stronger. They're better until, you know, the factory units come out and are positioned right and upgraded. The Vulture's combing the map. Now, I don't know if he's going to find this, but it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm. That would be a big find. Like, if he runs up and sees this Robo right now, and it looks... He's definitely looking. He knows that there's missing tech, because his SCV was alive in that main base for so long. He knows something else should have been made. And, you know, I think the issue for Mini here is if Scan is thinking straight, no matter what, he makes turrets. Because it's like, well, I don't know what it is, but turrets are good against it.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it's not a Nexus, right? I guess it could be a Nexus. Turrets are not good against a Nexus.
Well, I think at this point in time, he's probably pretty confident. Granted, this is a hard map to scout. The top left and the 2 bottom right bases are very desirable, kind of sneaky expos, and it's hard to scout both of them at once. Scan's going to apply pressure. It's hard to say if this is good or bad, because... you know, there might not be enough at home to fight this, but at the same time, there might not be enough at the Terran's home to deal with the Shuttle and the Reaver. Well, so when you see this, you got to be scratching your head from Scan's perspective, saying it just feels like Protoss is pretty light right now.
Well, the funny thing is you need the Reaver to really defend Scan's push. And the Reaver could counterattack, but I actually think Scan's attack is much stronger than a Reaver. Also, just to throw this out there, I just saw this build emerge recently. Royal's been doing this a little bit. Where you go 3 factory after the gas stealing expansion, and you put a lot of pressure on. So very cool to see Scan very much on top of like the emerging metagame right now. Now here comes the Reaver into the main base, and yeah, like he'll get some damage, but Scan has so many units across the map, man. I'm honestly not that scared for him right now. Like, this could go bad, but I think his attack has a lot more potential.
Yeah, well, we also saw a Scarab Dud back there. He needs to basically get in here and really kill these SCVs. You can sandbag the entrance here by just, you know, putting pylons down here and buying time. The gateway has to fall before the tanks and the Vultures can push in. But a lot of SCVs are going to be killed. I got to say, these are really unfortunate Scarab shots. We saw one zigzagging back there as well. He's going to try to drill with these probes. He's got to be really careful. There's mines just, you know, an inch or 2 away from detonating. This Shuttle's going back up on the mini-map, so we might be able to take some more shots here. The tanks are still down here fighting. The battery is adding a little bit of buffering.
Oh, man. He has killed so many Dragoons and not lost his tanks yet. The Vultures have been tanking a lot of the damage. The tanks are getting a little bit low, but he's still okay. He backs up past the mines. And look at this. Oh, that stop on those SCVs was awesome. Damn. Look at this, man. Scan looking amazing.
Okay, but he's got shuttle speed, and I think that's a shuttle with a Reaver in it.
Oh, okay.
I think the idea is you go shuttle, Reaver, Reaver, shuttle. So that way he can basically tag team the different Reavers in here. So this may catch Scan off guard. Oh my God!
Oh my God, I love it. Oh.
How many?
But 15 kills on that Reaver.
15 kills.
This is insane, dude. Look at this. 52 supply to 53 at 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. The Reaver still being microed like insanely. This is, like, Mini is the person, if my life was on the line, that I would tell to try to win this game.
Oh my God! Okay. That could have been almost all the SCVs in the game.
Craziness right now.
We don't have any kind of UI that shows us how many SCVs are in the game. Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh my. Oh, that's crazy. Targeted the tank. Okay. There's got to be another Reaver in that shuttle. If he has a Reaver in each expansion, you just can't mine.
Yeah.
And there's barely been any income here. It's not like all these factories are easily pumping stuff out. Now, the Protoss did lose a lot of probes in the fight earlier. We should point that out. It's not like they're healthy either. Okay, there's so many more kills. There's 28 kills. 31 kills.
Now, Scan is pushing up.
Two Dragoons?
He's actually reinforced here a little bit. Loses one of the tanks to that nice probe drill. Oh, the mine hits! The mine hits! Oh my God, I have no idea who's going to win this game. This is insanity.
So remember that scarabs cost money.
Yeah.
Okay? Every shot costs minerals, so when you're low on workers, you know, it's not like every other unit that just fires for free. They get infinite ammo. He could send a Reaver back. One Reaver can clean this up pretty easily.
But Tastosis, he brings a Goliath down. Like, he's still sending units across the map, despite the fact he's losing, like, every SCV. I think you're right, and the Reaver can clear this, though.
Yeah, I think that Mini will win because he has so many probes mining. You can kind of start over, like you're on a one-base PvP from here. He just has to get a few more shots off. And I don't think there's even funding for turrets. I mean, there's just no money. Scan's been sitting at 20 minerals. Yeah, now 18. There it is, GG. What a game to start the season off.
What a game.
Oh, my God.
That was insanity. And, like, that absolutely could have gone either way.
I mean, you know, these games sometimes, they're, like, better than scripted WWE where it's like, okay, well, that would never happen, right? I mean, what, the first game of best of one and it's that close? It's funny because Scan, I think, could have done more with the push. It's not even like he pushed poorly, but I think Mini just did such a good job, especially the second Shuttle Reaver. I think a lot of other players would go Shuttle, Reaver, Reaver, Reaver. As in they just keep that one shuttle alive and keep sending it in. And if you keep that shuttle alive, you're okay. But I think the timing of the second shuttle coming in threw Scan off because Scan probably thought he had, all right, maybe I've got, I don't know how long this is, 10, 12 seconds to kind of macro, clean up my SCVs and make sure they're mining and push. And instead, as he's doing it, a second shuttle and Reaver comes in. And then he's just got 2 territories occupied, right? Both of the resource locations being punished. So beautiful play there. Crazy.
Truly. You're really spot on with that. I think Scan would have won if that hadn't happened. So what a close game. Scan looking great. Mini very happy that he was able to pull it. Well, he was very close to dead there. Like, that was that could have gone wrong easily.
Yeah. Wild game. Guys, we're going to take a break. Up next, Shuttle versus Calm. We will be right back.
I got the time today. I'm looking for all of the fades, want all of the smoke. All of my goals inside of the scope. I'm taking it hill and coming for more. Woke up, didn't even stretch. I'm placing my bets on myself. I be doing the most. Why you always talk like you wanted it goats? I ain't gotta speak cause I already know. This ain't been new to me, a news to me. I came out the womb unique. Shine bright like jewelry. Of course, you don't wanna fool with me. I got views to see and gifts to use. I got everything to gain and none to lose, and he can prove. I took his burden and yoke. It's like moose when I hit the moves. You can't tell me anything. I mean anything. That's for sure. I already know. I know my identity. My identity from the go. I told you I already know. You can't tell me anything. I mean anything. That's for sure. I already know. I know my identity. My identity from the go. Already know. I'm spitting the truth. When I'm in the booth, I take you to school. Yeah. This ain't a lesson. I put on this armor like it was my weapon. I'm stepping. The ops can lead. My props are these utilities he put inside of my belt. Feeling me, it's just the face I can tell. But really, the king is the one you can smell. This ain't been new to me, a news to me. I came out the womb unique. Shine bright like jewelry. Of course, you don't wanna fool with me. I got views to see and gifts to use. I got everything to gain and none to lose, and he can prove. I took his burden and yoke. It's like moose when I hit the moves. You can't tell me anything. I mean anything. That's for sure. I already know. I know my identity. My identity from the go. I told you I already know. You can't
And we're back. What's up, everybody? ASL continues on. My God, what a game, Artosis.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I cannot believe it was that close at the end of the day. I think if either of them makes like one different move, the game state changes completely to like a different winner. You know what I mean? Like that second shuttle that you mentioned, I think you're completely right. If he had just a little bit of breathing room, he would have been able to focus on his push more and reinforce it one additional time probably. And like that would have made, he almost killed him with it still. So just an absurd game. What a great game that was to open up this season of ASL.
Really important that Mini knew to just kind of keep retreating back and sacrifice the Nexus, give that position up. It can feel like all is going to be lost, but the reality is as long as you can send your probes back, there's still mining minerals at your main base. If you can just kill his SCVs, you will eventually fight back, reclaim your expansion at least, or at most actually just win the game because they lose all the SCVs.
Well, if that's going to be the quality of games this season, we're going to have a great one, no doubt about that. And honestly, just great matches still to remain here today. We're going to be going into Shuttle versus Com next. That's a hard one to predict, I feel like, because I think they're both kind of like underrated by fans. They are both really, really strong, but it's not like Snow versus Sulky or something, right? So it's like, well, you guys aren't Snow and Sulky, so, you know, that's no good. But like both these guys have potential still to win this group.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on who's going to take this. I think it's going to be close. I think it should be a pretty good match, and I look forward to seeing who's going to go up against Mini. By the way, man, Mini, you know, that game back there, it was a very Mini-esque game. It was exciting, unique strategies, but it's like sometimes he just barely skids through with a victory. and, you know, I look at this, I think, maybe you should just play I mean, I feel like someone like Mini can just play a conservative macro game versus Scan and probably win, right? It just feels like he makes some of these games so high stakes at times, and I wonder if that's the way to do it. I mean, he's going to know best, but when I see a game like that, I just think, man, you know, when we have best of ones like this, you know, portion of the tournament, it's crazy how close he makes it.
It really is, and I think a lot of people look at it as like grind your opponent out. But honestly, I've come to respect the way Mini plays pretty heavily. Like, you look at his results, yeah, he'll crash out sometimes, but the guy's a champion, and he'll probably be a champion again as well. So I'm just gonna let go Tasteless and enjoy Mini games.
Yeah, I mean, his games have just been phenomenal. So going into this, I mean, we've got Shuttle, you know, who's been pretty much, you know, kind of post, I guess from the start of ASL all the way to now, a historic player. He's a great streamer, a lot of charisma. He was one of the guys kind of carrying the game in, I guess what we could call the dark ages of StarCraft 1, where StarCraft 2 really soaked up all the attention. But, you know, he just doesn't seem to be in the same kind of condition or able to get into the same condition as like a Snow or a Mini. Doesn't mean he can't win. He still has great games. But yeah, I mean, every season you're turning a new leaf, right?
Well, you know, both these guys are also popular streamers, so it's like it's not as much on them to perform because people just like to watch your streams anyways, but they're both very good, and I'm expecting a great match here on Eclipse.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. And Calm, you know, I feel like both these guys, sometimes when we talk about players who aren't the best or not perceived to be people that would obviously get to the round of 8, we talk about nerves, we talk about anxiety. But, you know, the reality is these are probably two of the most comfortable players in a format like this, right? Huge streamers, been on the stage a million times. This is going to be a fun one, guys. We're going to go into match 2. The winner of this best of 1 faces Mini in the winner's match. Okay, we've got Shuttle here in the top right. Calm in the bottom left. And I'm interested in what kind of opening Shuttle does here. There is some cute cheese you can do to Zerg that it might have been too played out at this point in time, but you can do like a cannon rush if they go hatchery first by just looping a probe all the way around.
Yeah.
And going behind there, stuff like that. But if not, it'll probably just be a normal forge opening or gateway expand.
Yeah, I don't think Shuttle will do anything too wild or too aggressive here. Honestly, I've been becoming a bit more of a Shuttle fan lately. I've just been able to cast a few more of his games and see a few more of his games lately for whatever reason. It just happened to pop up, and like, I'm actually gaining some real appreciation for him. I feel like he's like, he'll screw stuff up a little bit in the first 10 minutes, but he is a really strong late game player. Like, I really do enjoy when he actually gets a big army and a decent amount of bases. Like, the guy knows how to play the game. So I'm hoping that we get one of those big macro games here. I actually quite enjoy macro games on Eclipse for this matchup. You know, obviously we have that whole set of like, oh, I snuck a cannon rush, or like, oh, I did the Hydra bust, or I've seen a lot of lurker contains here because that choke isn't super big. But once it actually proceeds to Protoss having a secured third base, I feel like we get like insane macro games here because of the locations of the bases.
Yeah, well, you have these two little corner bases in the bottom right that both sides, Protoss and Zerg, can take and fortify, and it's just hard to deal with. And then the top left base with the double gases. And sometimes we have one side that can kind of grab everything over there while the other side grabs that top left location. This was blind Nexus first into Forge, which, you know, this does lose to some builds, but generally not tournament builds. And so I've gained an appreciation for this.
Yeah.
In that, you know, I believe you can do overpool and be fine as Protoss with this. But if they do a 9 pool, 7 pool, 4 pool, all that kind of stuff, you'll lose. But it's an interesting way to approach it, because it basically accepts that a good player in a tournament of these stakes would never 9 pool speedling, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they did it, they would just get free wins, but they're not going to do that because not every Protoss does this every game. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, you know, you're kind of playing a bit of a percentage game. But that, I think, exactly is why I've come to appreciate Mini somewhat, is because, like,
same.
he's the type of player that'd be like, nah, screw it, we're doing it, let's go, you know? like remember his finals against Larva, Game 7, he just puts 2 gateways in the center of the map. It's like, damn, man, he is base. Like, he will do anything that he thinks might win. And so, like, you know, I do appreciate that Shuttle's like, oh, statistically, this is probably going to work out. And it does. And, like, he's got a good opener. Obviously, you know, getting away with Nexus first completely and, like, not having to get your cannon quickly, those are great things. But, yeah, some of those risky plays can, I think, really pay off, as we've seen with Mini.
Yeah. No, I had the same experience as you. I watched it and was like, this doesn't feel right. And I guess if you ladder a lot and you don't know who your verse, you know, it kind of makes sense, right? It's like, well, what if they just, would you really want to squander this opportunity? Oh, quick Hydra Den, by the way.
Shows the layer, cancels into the Hydra Den, very importantly.
Yeah. Yes, good catch, Tastosis. So, there's so many ways to kind of get back to the same Hydra bust. It's really hard to stop. There's basically like tons of openers and subtle things you can do. Like you could take a hatchery if it was a 4-player map at another natural that looks like it's going to be turtley play, but just go in a Hydra bust. You could, you know, if you can't hide the den, make a layer, then kill the probe, cancel the layer, make the den. So right now, Calm is going to go for a real cutthroat move here. The wall-in right now for Protoss, we've seen a change in the way that Protosses are walling in, but it doesn't look like you can do it on this map. But this is one where the Forge sticks out and can be picked off. Some of the newer wall-ins, they put the Forge further back and kind of give the gateway up, but make it harder to get back to the Forge and the other cannons. And that's important to note because that means Shuttle is going to lose his +1 attack upgrade, assuming this goes the way it should.
Yeah. I wonder if that might be something to do with blocking like a possible overpool where you want to put less surface area on the gateway. So he's like, okay, we're going to, you know, for this Nexus first, we're going to put that up a little bit further.
So the Corsair is going to be the first thing that can confirm the Hydras. He's going to see this. If he's getting air weapons, he'll cancel it. But he has to act really quickly. So the shape here of the cannon formation is one where he's willing to sacrifice the wall to basically get the cannons up. When you place the cannons this far back, the Hydras can't really get to them and deal the damage the way they want. And so he's going to try to throw his cannons down. He cancels the +1 ground weapons upgrade at the Forge. I mean, obviously, because he's going to lose it. And then, yeah, I mean, let's see what exactly Shuttle's play is going to be, and also how committed Calm is here. You can make a couple Hydras and then just stop.
Yeah.
And go back into droning. That's why the Corsair is hovering over all these hatcheries and the eggs. He wants to see, are you hardcore, hard in the paint, gonna, keep making Hydras, or are you gonna just tech off of this? And I have to cancel cannons.
This looks like a really good mind game from Calm, because don't forget, he sent that drone to the bottom right before the rush started. And he's got way more drones than a 3-hatch Hydra is supposed to have. And now he's started even another macro hatch. So, the fact that we have Shuttle here canceling an upgrade, making this many cannons, but his Corsair sees what's going on. Like, yeah, sure, there's a lot of Hydras, but there's a lot of drones as well.
Okay, so the Corsair is still swinging through. Looks like we're going to go up to, what is this, 2, 4, 6, 7 cannons with a possible 8th here. The Overlord's a little bit farther back than it should be. He could actually sneak out. Yeah, dude. Is he going to notice this?
I don't know.
It's so easy when you're watching this to be like, of course he saw that. But when you see how fast these guys are playing, sometimes they don't know. It seems like he's sending some stuff back, but there's nothing at the third base. The Corsair saw that. He cancels the cannons, by the way. He realizes basically the monkey's off his back.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so seeing Hydras run back here, he might want to turn around.
Well, he's there before the Overlord pops. That's an Overlord in the egg that we have selected there, almost certainly. Yeah, there it is, and it pops out. So that's a very good catch by Calm. He doesn't really take very much damage. Yeah, he loses 2 drones, tiny bit of mining time, but that was an excellent, excellent catch. And now he's got his 4 bases kind of running against a Shuttle that doesn't have a whole lot going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Shuttle's kind of back at his base trying to tech up. When you get that many cannons early, your gateway explosion's a lot later. But I like the idea of the double forge, kind of do a slower, maybe 2-2 timing push here. The Corsair did see that 4th base that was much earlier than a normal 4th base. From a Zerg, like you were mentioning earlier, Tastosis. We don't see bases thrown down that fast. It may be a layup into a Hydra contain here for Calm. That could be the move.
Well, the one nice thing I guess we can say about Shuttle's position is he doesn't really need to make Corsairs, so that can allow him to afford a lot of High Templars. Now, that being said, actually, Aspire has just been started here from Calm. So he, this feels like endless mind games from Calm. He goes, he makes it look like it's an all-in. He cancels into the Hydras, makes it look like an all-in while taking a 4th. Drones like mad. And now suddenly he's like, okay, well, his strength is going to be his High Templar count due to not having to make Corsairs against me. So let's go Mutas and just pick them off.
He's also getting a Hive a little bit faster than I think you normally do if you go Mutas. I could be wrong.
Is he already good?
So a lot of...
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, I said Queen's Nest. Queen's Nest. I meant he's going to go into Hive.
Yeah.
If you see the Queen's Nest like that, usually it means they're going to go right into Hive.
That is really quick. That is.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. It's really common, especially nowadays, if you go for the 3-hatch Hydra bus to then get Mutas later. And then what you do is, as they leave their base, you make, somewhere between 5 to 10 Mutas, and you try to just shoot down all the Templars. So the answer for the Protoss in that situation, since they couldn't really build up Corsairs, is they have to get a Dark Archon and catch it. But I'm looking at this, and this looks actually kind of like an older PVZ, where they're just going to go in a Hive Tech and get Defilers and kind of get mass upgrades,
This is the greediest thing I may have ever seen in my whole life. He went 4 base. He's going Spire, Lurker, triple Evo, and Hive. That's not a thing, right? I've never seen a Zerg do everything at once. Like, what is this?
Well, what he's going into... Well, he doesn't have the Hive yet, so what is he doing? Okay, I keep expecting the Hive to show up. You can go for, like, cracklings. I mean, people don't really do this anymore. This is, like, kind of an old idea. I definitely lose to it, because when it happens, I'm like, I don't know how to stop this, because nobody does this.
Yeah.
Let's see if that Hive actually comes down, because, yeah, it looks like he's going to play a really turtley style. I think this means a lot of cracklings, but let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'm right or not. Yeah, triple Evo usually means... There it is. There's the Hive. Okay. I think he just actually started the Hive later than he should have because he was too busy running around. Yeah, so this is like pre-StarCraft 2 stuff. I don't know why we're having a lot of old ideas here.
Yeah.
Again, not that old's bad. It's just, you know, there's a lot of really modern things we're doing. I've always found this style to actually be pretty hard to fight. You can't really push them because, you know, they're not trying to tech into something that's unstoppable. And you can start to get counterattacked a lot here, especially when they get the adrenalines.
Well, adrenalines are like the best thing in the game, basically. That's going to be really, really scary for him to deal with. But look at Shuttle. Like, this is what I'm talking about, where I'm gaining a lot of respect for Shuttle. And he's just making nexuses. This is something you and I have talked about so many times in regards to this matchup, where it's like, well, if you can't attack something, don't attack it. And if they're turtling this hard, make nexuses. And that's exactly what we see Shuttle doing. Like, that is a very quick third and fourth bases coming up. And, you know, he's walked around. He's kind of checked all the locations. There's tons of Sunkens. There's tons of Lurkers. He can't really do much. So why not just expand?
Yeah, I think this Nexus is going to get canceled.
I think he's barely going to save it.
Oh, my God. Okay, beautifully done. So important you get that Nexus up. Yeah, he's got Overlords with drop too.
Wait,
now, I don't think this is the best map for.
He can't.
I'm betting you he's getting drop. I could be wrong.
Drop 3 Evos, map, but Hive, Spire, Lurker. Like, is there anything he can't do?
You basically turtle with Lurkers. Now, look, I might be wrong. He might not get drop. I think drop's not actually that great on this map with Adrenalings, but generally, if you get this Adrenaling style with Lurkers and you're camping everywhere, you have a lot of drops. But again, I don't think this is like just the way the map's shaped. There's not like an expansion that's kind of exposed where like, oh, you wouldn't have any defenses from air here. Oh, he got 2 Defiler mounts. That's funny. That's definitely not intentional.
You don't think so? You don't think he like wants to get Consume and Plague right away or something like that and just start Plague grinding? Or I mean, sometimes like there's double Hydralisk Den builds and there are double Ultralisk Den builds or Cavern. Whatever
Yeah, but I don't think that. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but you don't need to get Plague like as quick. Like you need to get Consume right away, right?
Yeah.
But you're not like I need to get both Consume and Plague at the same time. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm totally fine being incorrect about that if this is some new idea. But it looks like that might have been some kind of a mistake.
Yeah, maybe. So Calm has taken both those bottom right bases, and he's turtled everything like really expertly. He has a ton of supply. He has like the entire world's tech just about. Shuttle on 4 bases, though, and he's got, like, actually 4 bases. A lot of times you see 4 bases this matchup. It's like, well, he has 4 nexuses, but 2 of them are mining. So, like, this, he's going to have a real explosion of macro here. I know the supplies look close here, but Shuttle's going to just suddenly max out and be maxed for a really long time. But I don't know. I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, you better just start making Reavers, man. Like, this game is not going to end with a regular attack.
Yeah, I don't think that you can push. And by the way, I think Calm pretty masterfully just exploded on the map.
Dude, that's a super
There's really
quick
nowhere
play.
you can...
Sorry,
yeah, there's no way you can get in there.
Yeah.
The only place that's left on the map to take is the top left. I mean, we're just about 14 minutes into this game, and there's 1 base left. So, you're spot on that he needs to get Reavers. Reavers are the only thing that can kind of beat everything that Zerg has left over. A lot of games we don't see Reavers made because they're kind of the post mid-game. You know, when you're getting into like late game or end game, as they would call it, that's when the Reaver has to come out. So we'll see if he goes for triple Robo and gets Shuttles and Reavers. But either way, man, you know, it's the only spot I think he could maybe push and succeed would be this base we're looking at here where the storms are coming and he's on the low ground. Or maybe the natural. sometimes players lose games when they get their main pushed in, and then they kind of don't have any comfortable position. Although I don't think that's going to happen here at this level of play.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's what happens in my games.
Yeah,
not ASL
for sure. That is a sick plague right there. I think the one thing I don't want to see from Shuttle is an actual committed attack, because when you're playing against like this many hatcheries, this many upgrades, you know, crackling lurker with the filers, I just don't think you're able to actually break anything. I think you have to go into like a grinding mode with, and he is making Reavers. Like we saw Second Robo, we saw Reaver sitting next to it. He's even getting Plasma Shield upgrades. So like Shuttle is playing for a really long, big game. And I think that's what he needs to do. I think he just needs to be like Psy Storms, Reavers, some Archons and Zealots in there and stuff, and just like destroy anything that comes at him, because it doesn't feel like there's a good attack that can be made.
Yeah, well, the two bottom right bases, I just don't feel like you can get up there, even with a lot of Reavers. It's really hard to make that work. Maybe he will try to push into the middle of the map here. It does seem like Protoss is not going to get access to this top left base, by the way. And if that happens, like, Shuttle will just run out of money.
Well, this one, he has a Nidus there, but only 4 lurkers. It looks like he's going to try to break it. He's utilizing his Reavers to quickly get in here. And, like, with the Reavers and Storm, Nidus is great, but that's, like, pre-clumped for him. So he can, like, look at that Storm right there on the Nidus. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, so far, not bad. You know, but the question is, how many more lurkers can pop out of this? It's so hard to get stuff up this ramp. It seems like he's going to try to dive on that Nidus. More units are going to pop out here. More Sunks are being morphed. The Reavers overextend. They kind of led the attack there. I actually don't think he's going to get up here. I've seen so many games. Well, hold on a second.
I think if
Sunks morphing.
If he leads with the Archons, like they can take a big beating here. They even have that +1 plasma, which is nice. He was like, this has been kind of a sloppy break. It started so beautifully, and I've just watched these Archons like behind one Dragoon on the ramp, just like running back and forth.
Yeah,
like I think there was potential to break it. Maybe he loses a lot more army there. He's close, though. He's close. That Nidus is pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, he's maxed out again. Shuttle's going to try to go for it. You know, it's kind of brilliant what Calm's done. He's stayed far away from the ramp. There's no way for the Dragoons to run up and, you know, kind of brute force down sunken colonies and lurkers. So the ramp operates like a bottleneck. So no matter how scary this army is, everything's kind of running through single file and eating all the damage. And in Brood War, it's just really hard to get stuff up and down ramps. Like when you have to force movement and there's fighting happening. So, look, if he can take this base down here, it's great. But even if he takes the base, like one of these two bases down here, it's still losing on the numbers game here. Yeah. Now, taking out the Nidus is nice.
I think you break here easily now. You know, it's like, okay, he has the Reavers and he has Darkstorm, but the Lurkers and the Darkstorm, but the Reavers can take those out still. A few Zealots coming up here to help out as well. So it looks like he will be able to break this, but during this, Calm is setting up that top left as also, and that's a double gas base.
Yeah, and the double gas, I mean, the Protoss can really make good use of that. Obviously, Zerg can do a lot of things with double gas as well, but just having that many Templars, you know, for Archons, for Storm Drops and everything. When we get in a game that's gone on for this long, a lot of times it really comes down to Storm Drops from Protoss as well. And just trying to kind of eat away at the opportunities Zerg have to mine resources. So he's taken this base, but now this army's kind of trapped up here. It's like a reversal of the situation from before, where now they can't get back down the ramp easily because there's so many lurkers.
That is kind of funny. One thing I have to say, I just have to say it. I'm like sitting here debating in my head, should I say this? Because Taste is going to act like I'm dumb. He needs a greater Spire, man. We need some Guardians in here. This guy's sitting on 2K gas.
They're going to say playing against carriers. I was like, no, he doesn't need carriers.
But actually, you know what I was thinking before? I'm like, he needs an Arbiter, man. He needs to recall these bases.
Guardians actually would probably be fine here, I think. I mean, if Zerg got Guardians, like at the base that's next to the location that Shuttle just reclaimed, it's annoying, man. You have to like then start to make Corsairs. you can always back out of making Guardians. The one thing you want to be careful about is you don't make too many Guardians.
Yeah,
at least in my experience.
Yeah, you don't want to make like 12 Guardians.
That was a lot of gas.
This isn't fastest map. Like I know the economies are insane right now. You will run out of money, but I just when it gets into these Reavers, I feel like a quick little shift into Guardians and then back out again is actually pretty strong, in my opinion. But
well, the only thing that Shuttle has going for him is that he's kept Zerg from taking his base. I think there's probes in here. I could be wrong. Yeah, okay, so he's going to make a base over here. But, like, yeah, Tastosis, you're spot on. If he just made Guardians there, he can kind of pelt that base from afar. Yeah. Maybe the Protoss never even gets it up and running. Now, Shuttle should not be running into this many Lurkers. The Lurkers are very spaced out for a reason, so that melee units over time just get chewed up and hit at all these different angles.
I gotta say,
I actually think... Yeah, go ahead.
I love what we're watching here. It feels like a campaign mission where he's just weathering Zerg in the bottom right with his hero army. What were you going to say, though?
No, I mean, I think Com's played just a really brilliant game, and he's bringing out a style that I don't think we've cast in ASL for literally seasons and seasons. Like, it's been years since we've seen triple upgrade into... like Adrenalings.
I
know that you always eventually get Dark Swarm. I mean, I know that that's always something you're going to try to build into and get Lurkers, but this style to kind of turtle it up on 4 bases and just stay back, really cool.
Dude, this is the most endless army I've ever seen. This is so insane. I feel like we're playing zone control with Hydras right now, just an endless swarm coming up. And then he even has all these units reinforcing. Shuttle trying to get a counterattack going.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that Calm paced the game out was brilliant. It's like he just hunkered down on 4 bases, kind of waited with a few counterattacks, and then just darted out and took 2 more bases. And suddenly he has, 60% of the map.
Yeah.
And it's just an uphill fight. And we see these moments where Shuttle's pushing through, and it kind of feels like there's progress, but these numbers are so thinned out that once the next wave of units hatch, it's just going to be too much, and we're seeing it right now. He's just getting overwhelmed. Yeah,
this type of play from Calm that you mentioned, actually, I'm thinking back, and like it kind of is reminiscent of some of the stuff we saw back when KSL was still around. Like, remember how Larva and Sulky used to play all the time, where they would just turtle 4 bases super hard and go up to Defiler? Like, I loved that style back then, and it feels like Calm was able to pull off something similar here with some mind games being involved, and he's played it beautifully. Like, he has got a lot. Now, Shuttle's not out. He's not dead. But he does need to, like, think about breaking maybe this base and getting himself 1 more. If he can secure 1 more base, he can absolutely win this off cost efficiency.
Yeah, the problem is the longer the Zerg has the base, the less resources are going to be available there. Like, he's got a lot of drones. This is a high drone PVZ.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to every base, it looks like it's a Terran's or a Protoss's base, where there's just, like, a ton of workers over there.
Yeah.
And that's by design, this kind of play style. I think what Calm did perfectly was just play the shape of the map right. He took a very fast 4th, so that even though he wasn't able to use it that much, later on it was too hard to reclaim. And that always puts a lot of pressure on the Protoss. They need to double expand as fast as possible, and they need to try to find a place to push. And then he basically split Expo'd in 2 different spots. So he expanded again at the bottom, and then he expanded also towards the top. And there was no moment where Shuttle could kind of get into a position where he was able to do anything that mattered. You know?
Yeah. But I think Shuttle has played this really brilliantly as well. Like, he took 4 bases quicker than I've ever seen. He went Reavers really quick, which is always something that's like a coin flip with these Protosses, where you're like, come on, you need to go Reavers, and then they just never do, and they just end up losing to this stuff. But unbelievable plague grinds as well, by the way. Just, he has cast so many plagues this game, which is so incredibly strong against Protoss. Against anything,
this style
truly.
of play is it's super frustrating to deal with, because from here on out, the Zerg's not going to really attack any expansions or try to kill anything. He might maybe do a drop later or something, but all he wants to do is not lose bases. It's like he's in a tower defense game or something.
Yeah.
He's just going to keep making lurkers and sunken colonies and throwing plagues down here, and forcing the Protoss to kind of go through this wood chipper of a defense mechanism that Calm has set up and trade unfavorably. Again, this ramp, this bottleneck here, it's such a headache to get through. I think, by the way, Shuttle's chance is a little bit better than the other positions we've seen where he's fighting, and at least he can get his stuff onto the ground and then take a fight. And, you know, he might actually get into this base. This is pretty big.
His cost efficiency here has been the craziest thing, Tasteless. I can't even believe the swarms of units that are just dying to his splash damage here, but it still feels like Calm is somehow breaking through.
By the way, just a little note, those gases were never taken. So if Protoss can get this, I mean, you can make so many Archons, it's insane. Off 2 gases. You don't need that many minerals. So I think it's still hard to imagine Shuttle breaks this. It looks like he's going to keep trying. There's just this endless wave of Zerg units coming up here. The Shuttle micro has been great. The storms have been really good. The overextensions are not there, which is another great sign right now for him. Does he have an observer here? Oh, God, he's about to mine out.
Oh, Archon running way, way forward there.
Yeah.
He's still killing a lot over here. Calm's bank is basically gone now, just to put out there. And, obviously we don't have a big bank here for Shuttle either. It's just these lurkers are such a pain to micro against. I see him just, like, hemorrhaging units here and there. It's so hard, I think, to push through this type of position.
Yeah, well, this is kind of the final defense. There's basically an unused base at the bottom right, and it doesn't seem like there's that many drones mining at the natural. If you look at the minimap, it seems like there's 1 drone or something like that. So
yeah, maybe.
He's got resources elsewhere on the map. God, look at how spread out this defense is.
Yeah, he is, like, so far back. He's really making him come in here. And the thing is, like, Shuttle is still just throwing down so many storms. We actually see, like, Calm is even eating Hydras here with his Defilers. Like, he's just doing anything he can to stay alive. But when the Lurkers are gone, this is where Shuttle can really push quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he has so many storms, it's almost hard to keep track of all of them. The Lurkers are almost all gone. When the Lurkers disappear, the whole fight simplifies. Because you're basically just storming clusters of Hydras and having the Reavers push in here, and the Archons stay back and defend against the Zerglings when they really dive on top of you. All these are very low HP units because the Plagues just keep connecting over and over.
Yeah.
Has he mined out this 4th base? Because he needs money for Scarabs.
He's just about, man.
Ooh.
Like, this is getting a little bit grim. He needs to bust this and start mining from it, even long distance. I don't think he's going to quite be able to hold on to it, though. Like, he can't even afford a Nexus.
Yeah, no, it's one of those games where he just doesn't quite have enough. And I think this is just about the end.
He's just not going to be able to afford Scarabs at this point. The thing is, Calm is super broke, but he does have those mineral patches in the bottom right. And he does have, as well, like, the 4th base mining still. Yeah, that's true. He has at least some minerals there.
Yeah, it's possible. It looks like there's a lot, but there isn't that much there. Okay, so he's going to fire these Scarab shots. He needs to get rid of the Sunks, because if the sunken colonies are there... Hey, you know what? If he can get his probes a long-distance mine and he could get a storm drop-off at that base at the bottom right, that would be huge.
Well,
ooh, that would be... Ooh, I don't know, though.
Dude,
does he have enough?
He doesn't have money for Scarabs anymore. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. This doesn't feel fair. No. Come on.
This is just brutal. I think we're near the end here. Because, yeah, I mean, the Scarab shots at least allow you to pick off huge chunks of units in kind of an unfair amount. But the storms are going to dry up. Long-distance mining, maybe he can get a few more Scarabs made here. There's still a sunken colony that can basically hit workers. He's got to push into that. And there's a lot of Hydras and Lurkers coming here.
Yeah, it seems like it's just going to be a little bit too much for Shuttle to hold on against. He's almost got money for another Scarab. Come on! There we go.
He's got more Templars coming up here. So there are actually a lot of storms here. Honestly, okay, hold up. Oh, does he have an observer?
I don't know.
Okay, no, he does not have an observer here. Or wait, does he? What is being shot? Is that a Lurker in there? I think it's a Defiler being shot.
Yeah, that's a Defiler. That's a Defiler. Okay, so he's cleared everything in here, and he's long-distance mining again. I guess there's couplings right there?
Thing is, you just need a couple of Scarabs. I mean, and then Templars really are dirt cheap. I mean, you can almost not be mining minerals and be pretty consistently getting Templars out here. He may have overextended here. He has 1 or 2 storms in the tank.
Ooh.
Another great size storm. The Reavers takes damage. The Reavers picked off. Reavers very mineral intensive here. If you if you have to remake another one and fill it up with scarabs. So,
dude, what
one of these games I've called it over so many times.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess I've learned to not do that. That's.
What are you doing? Casting Home Story Cup as a pro gamer?
Yeah. Are you
Was
trying
the game
to
over,
the pros?
Tasteless?
Like, oh, I made a mistake in his build.
Oh, he lost his
This is where
Zergling?
it's over now. Okay,
that's
this is
gonna be
over
it.
though.
Yeah.
All of his workers are gone. You could see Shuttle shaking his head. I'll tell you what, man, he put up a really, really good fight.
Yeah. This was just an unbelievably fun game. I think Shuttle played really, really well. I'm actually really sad that he ran out of money for scarabs. GG. Wow.
Man.
What a game. What a game.
What a hell of a game. I do think that that's a tough map for Protoss when it comes to pushing. There's a couple maps where it's like, when I play, I'm like, is there anywhere I'm allowed to attack into? Like, is the whole game going to be me just trying to make sure you never even get to start that base? Because, but with the exception of, I guess, the 4th base, the one that's close to the organic 3rd base, everything's hard to push into when it comes to lurkers. I guess it's true for the Zerg as well. Both races have a hard time attacking into each other when the fortification is really up. But for a lot of the matchup, it's Protoss pushing Zerg. So that means we're going to have Calm versus Mini coming up.
All right. That should be fun. I'm really excited to see what Calm has planned out for Mini here, because I don't know that he would be able to pull that off against Mini, Like, I feel like Mini, with his, dedicated aggression and how on top of the matchup he is, might be able to see through Calm's plans if he has something tricky like that.
Yeah, going for that mass upgrade style, turtling, but also with the ability to attack when you need, not completely reliant on lurkers. You do get that adrenal upgrade. And then basically you just kind of skirt out on the map, and with Dark Swarm and lurkers, you just secure a few more bases. Tough to fight. But this next matchup should look different. Guys, coming up next, Mini versus Calm. Stay tuned.
So enticing, green-eyed gaze could have been moving on, moving in, yeah. Picket fence, wooden red. Trying not to think about it, know that I should probably cut it out. Damn sure, gonna ruin it. Timeless, yeah, you and I, we were priceless. Like sugar sweet Russian, could have never made it anything, 'cause we never could have ever been honest. We'd never make it to August. We're here to the moment, could have never made it anything, 'cause we never could have ever been. What if we could have, what if we should have stayed on the beach in Barcelona? What if we made it more than a 3rd day? What if we took it all the way up? Sometimes at late nights you're crossing my mind. Sometimes I feel like I should reach out. Would that be stupid? Would I just ruin it? Would I just ruin it? I wanna call you up, but it's never gonna be that timeless. Yeah, you and I, we were priceless. Like sugar sweet Russian, could have never made it anything, 'cause we never could have ever been honest. We'd never make it to August. We're here to the moment, could have never made it anything, 'cause we never could have ever been. What if we could have, what if we should have stayed on the beach in Barcelona? What if we made it more than a 3rd day? What if we took it all the way up? Sometimes at late nights you're crossing my mind. Sometimes I feel like I should reach out. Could have never made it anything, 'cause we never could have.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. We're back. We're ready. Damn, man, the games have been so good.
Dude, this is the best first 2 games of a season we've ever had. Easily.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to top, you know, what we just saw. 2 very different games, too. You know, a nail-biter down to the last SCV, and the last few Dragoons and tanks and everything. A few remaining Reaver shots there. And then, you know, a crazy, grindy macro game.
Yeah.
Calm looking to be in great shape, by the way. I think this is going to be a tough match for Mini. The question is, what kind of playstyle is Mini going to bring? I think he's got some of the most inventive early game PvZ that we've seen. You know, he even does, I don't think he's going to do it in this map, but that weird 2-gate build where he like all-ins with a Reaver, he's done that for seasons and seasons. I don't think you can't do it here. Looking at our map, Metropolis, these maps have these huge, like, boomerang-shaped mains.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 locations that are very droppable, and then there's a big cavity behind your expansion.
Yeah.
So like lurker drops, storm drops, anything with, you know, drops at the end.
Yes.
Going to be powerful.
The map is really kind of weird because of that.
Yeah.
And it does have stacked mineral patches in the center. I don't think that this is a matchup that you'll see the center bases taken, but honestly, as a Terran, I take the
100%.
center bases every single TVP. But yeah, this is Metropolis is a bit weird because of the shape of that main. I'm not sure exactly how much that's going to come into play here, because, you know, I think that both sides have decent mobility against each other for stopping that type of drop.
This is going to be crazy. Super excited to see what ideas are going to be used here. I think Zerg can turtle like crazy on this.
Yeah.
Protoss obviously can turtle in any map that Zerg can turtle in, but Zerg always get to turtle a little bit earlier. The play that Calm brought on Eclipse was really scary. Let's see what he does this time around. And again, with Mini, what kind of early game strats is he going to do? You never know what to expect. Guys, the winner of this is going to be the first player in the round of 24 advancing into the round of 16. Okay, both players here on the left side of the map. Mini, was at the top? Yeah, Mini at the top here. Calm in the bottom left. One more plug, guys, for our Patreon, and then it's all going to be about the games. Consider signing up. Consider supporting us. This is the original esport. This is the best esport. And it just keeps getting better and better. But we're not supported by Blizzard. We're not even really supported by Soup, formerly Africa TV. They just give us the VODs, we cast it, we edit it, we throw it back up here for you guys. So we wouldn't be here without you guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Patreon.com/ASL English.
Yeah, thanks again to all of the Patreon supporters. Could not do it without you guys. Oh, man. I'm just so happy that we have another ASL season here. We have such a great lineup of players. It's the most balanced season we've ever had, which is really, really nice. What is it? It's like 9, 9, 10 as far as the races go when you count in the round of 16 players. You couldn't really write a better storyline than what we have going on here. And, you know, I think you're right. Like, StarCraft is getting better. There's so much going on in Korea. There's a lot going on in the non-Korean scene. Hell, I'm going to a LAN in Poland in a couple of weeks. It's going to be awesome. The Chinese scene is really flourishing, and those players are getting super, super strong. It's a beautiful time to be a fan.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think the fact that there's just a lot of infrastructure and hardcore older fans now able to kind of keep up with the game and support it. It's been in a good spot. This is an unusual opening here from Calm. I was kind of, to be honest, I was looking at the pylon placement and I was curious about how to wall in on this, and now I'm looking at this. This was, when did he gas and when did he pull?
I'm not sure, but I think this has to do with what we were talking about before. Like, this has to be a 9 pool, right?
It's either a 9 pool. Sometimes when I look at this, I mess up. You know,
well, it only had
started,
one larva when he finished the pool, so it might be like an overpool.
Yeah, it could be like it almost looks like a 9 pool, but it's a little bit later. You have 1 or 2 extra drones.
That looks to me like an overpool. Yeah.
Yeah, but with gas. So you know, when you get the gas really fast, if you don't get a lot done with it, or you don't get like layer tech or something crazy, or like maybe even like there is a really weird 2-hatch like super fast Hydra bust that people do that isn't as popular. Okay, it's going to be a layer. If you don't get a lot done early and the Protoss kind of deflects all your attacks, the Protoss is in a way stronger position.
For sure.
It's like a 6-4 matchup. I did not expect Calm to do this. This is very
tricky.
interesting.
That's very tricky. So it has to either be like a Lurker all in, a drop all in, or a 2-hatch Muta, right? Like those are the only things that this could be. Which one gives him the best winning chances against a mini that scouted you this early?
Well, that's the big question, right? Remember that the probe that is basically stalking the Zergling, and occasionally it's a Zergling stalking the probe. I'm sorry, I got that switched around. The Zergling stalking the probe can see that there's no Ling speed. So you can deduce where the gas is going. If there's no Ling speed, okay, well, it has to be a layer or a very rare Hydra Den. And I don't think I think I casted like one game where someone did like a 2-hatch Hydra bust, and I think that was the Zotek Cup we did with Day 9 and In Control like a long time ago. We saw that, but this is a quick Spire, and we know that because there wasn't a Den made with the layer. So it's going to be 2-hatch Muta, and you know, we don't really, I mean, now you'll see this. What?
Yeah, so that means this is going to be a Lurker drop is what it is. Or it could possibly be a Hydra drop.
It could be a bust. Could be it could just be a.
I don't think it can be a bust because you wouldn't get the layer with that, right? So.
Well, you can't make Lurkers without a layer.
Yes, but you would time out the Lurker Den to get quicker Lurkers. So he has to just be like, I only need it now because I have to research drop.
Yeah, okay. Good point. Sorry, you know, it's funny. Even when we can see the Zerg, there's just a lot of ways they can approach it, and it's not always obvious. I guess when you look at the map, too, I mean, we were just talking about this minutes ago, right? You can't stop drops from coming in, especially early on, even in late game. You know, a lot of maps, you have these tiny mains, and you can kind of, even if they drop it and it's an eye shot of you, you have your cannons and Templars and your gateways are there. Here, it's hard to even know when the drop's coming.
Yeah.
So he's going to see the Hydras here. And again, a lot of games when you see Hydras, you might not even necessarily think drop because Hydra busts are just so common, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we even saw, you know, in the previous game, kind of in a lead up to this moment, the canceled layer. Like, you know, Minnie's in the green room watching that going, wow, okay. He will cancel layer. You know, you might look at that and think the same thing, but if he's got the read on this correctly, he will identify that this is probably a drop. And by the way, Artosis, good call. I did not have the proper read on this. Yeah, I mean, I guess he really is playing the map perfectly here.
Well, the drop is going to definitely get in. Mini's pretty smart, though, and yeah, he brings his Corsair over here immediately. So this is a big moment that Mini knows at least that it is a drop. You know, he's not going to be able to kill the Overlords, but this is going to be very, very annoying.
Wow. Okay, he's pulled, I think, 10 probes and Zealots. He's going to try to come down here and collapse on this.
Dude, the
the problem is that, you know, the issue is that Speed Hydras are just so much better. My God, the Corsairs are going to get both Overlords, though.
Well.
Oh, my God. Okay, hold up. If he can actually kill these Hydras, which is not going to be easy, we're talking about probably the most microable units in the whole game.
You know, they're very, very fast right now. He is microing them well. I just wonder if there's a Lurker upgrade on the way. Because, like, if you make an egg, this stuff can't kill an egg either. So, like, if you get a really hurt Hydra, you could turn this into, like, a Lurker push as well. Calm right now, though, is severely supply blocked as well.
I didn't even notice that, yeah. He needs to get these Hydras on the low ground up here and cover these probes. I don't know if you end up with Overlord speed when you do this either. Okay, that answers that. Yes, you do. So there's Overlord speed coming up. I see something like 6 probes in the main. Mini has smartly teched. By the way, when you see those Hydras, if you didn't see the speed earlier at the start of this rush, it could have been a Lurker drop. So the Reaver tech is actually the correct kind of catch-all to stop this, because Reavers can stop drops, but they can also get an Observer if you need it to get that too. I think that actually, as bad as this looks for Mini, you got to remember that Calm barely has an economy back home.
Like, I put Mini down as probably being ahead right now, honestly. Like, all he has to do is stop this part of the drop, and it should be his game. Now, that cannon on the high ground is actually a killer. That is helping him so much, it's insane.
That's it. GG.
Wow.
You see Mini so happy with that.
Well, those were a couple of very close games that he had to play to get out of here into the round of 16.
Man, you know, I think there's a world where Calm could have done a little bit better, but he had to keep the 2 Overlords alive. You know, he had 3 more Hydras and however many Zerglings you need to fill in the other vacant slots in the Overlord, and he probably could have just overwhelmed the main and taken out the Nexus and the other tech. But Mini basically holds out until he gets that Reaver, and you know, once you've got the Reaver out, you're fine. But definitely a map we're probably going to see a lot of weird stuff just like that there.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting build there from Calm. Maybe if Mini scouts it a little bit later, he doesn't send the Corsair there right away. I think that was a big part of it, because he was basically completely prepared for it, or as much as you could be, because he saw this. Like, he could pull his Zealots back, he could grab a ton of probes and kind of bring those up as well. And just being able to pop these Overlords while the Hydras were being microed was gigantic. There might have been like a much better play here from Calm, but it was such a weird position. Like, see how he moves up here? He could have kept the Hydras back and reinforced. Instead, the Hydras went up to fight, and then the Corsairs just knock out the Overlords because there's no anti-air.
Yeah, good point. I think he probably also wasn't watching here too. But, I mean, Mini kept his cool.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure when I saw the Hydras unload, I'm like, man, he's in a lot of trouble. But rushes that look so scary like this, they seem so unfair, but you got to go back and look at what the Zerg has. Oh, there was a Zealot here? What?
I had no idea.
How did that get there?
No one knows. The Observer didn't catch it, so.
Yeah.
I
well,
certainly
that makes a
didn't
huge
catch
difference
it.
there, too.
Yeah,
it had 4 drone kills. Or
That's
I mean,
huge.
assume 4 kills. At least a couple drones. Wow, all right.
Well, that definitely hurt his chances quite a bit. Yeah, very well done from Mini. Really well deserving, of course, to go to that round of 16. Never really doubted that he'd make it there.
Man. I think we're going to do it. Excuse me. We're going to an interview, I think, in a second here. See how Mini's feeling. Here we go.
You're watching the opening day of the round of 24 here at ASL Season 19, as we have our first player advancing through the group onto the round of 16. Please give Mini a round of applause. Congratulations. Thank you. It was a satisfactory group, but not having advanced in first place in a long time, you were somewhat disjointed before the games. But still, you managed to advance in first place, and as the first player of the season at that. Let's hear how you're feeling. Even now, I nearly lost in the winner's match, and going to the final match would have been scary. I'm very happy to make it through with 2 wins, though. In the first game against Scan, you pressured with Zealots in the early game, but it seemed Scan's control was nothing to be scoffed at. You know, I didn't end up doing the build I had prepared. I got a bad feeling coming to the studio. It would have been better if I had just played the prepped build. Regardless of that, you were persistent in your aggression against Scan, hitting the natural and the main with Reavers, which eventually led to a victory. You must have felt that you had a good chance of winning if you just kept pressing. Honestly, my proxy Robo was late, and the situation, the fight, was favorable for my opponent because the Reaver was late. But he made mistakes. I think he got nervous because it's an official tournament, so I ended up winning. You smiled after that game. Was that a smile of relief? Shuttle said something to me. Oh, he said something? Yeah, I laughed because of that. Can I ask what he told you? In this group, the chance of advancing in second place is high. So if I went to the losers match, that would mean trouble. And that's what that smile was. Between Shuttle and Calm, you said Shuttle would end up winning, but it was Calm you faced in the winners match. It seemed you chatted before the game? What did you guys talk about? I saw him play and he played so well. He usually struggles on two-player maps, you know? But he prepped really well for the two-player map. In the winners match, we banned one map. Death Valley is a two-player map and it's good for Protoss, even better than Eclipse probably. It's safe, and he didn't ban it. And at that moment, I thought, wow, he really must have prepared builds very diligently. And the build he had prepared for Metropolis turned out to be a Hydralisk drop. When about did you sniff it out? At first, when I saw Gas, I thought, he's going to play something weird. But nowadays, people actually macro like this too, so I sent 2 Zealots, and I spotted Hydralisks, and realized it's a Hydra drop. I was seeing the Hydralisks walking towards, you realized it's a Hydra drop. You made a prediction, and it turned out to be correct, as you net a win. And making it out in first place, you now have a lot of time to prepare for the round of 16. Right. What will it be like, the preparation? I would end up in Group A a lot, advance in second place too, but it was easy this time, so first, I'll just watch the other groups and prepare comfortably. I think it's another season for me to go far. I'll try and go far this time. Seeing how this is the opening day, there were a lot of cheers from the audience as you claimed victory. Any words for the fans? All these years playing, I dropped the ball today. I left my mousepad at home. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot to bring my mousepad and had to borrow one from 910. Thanks for that. So my micro wasn't that good today. I'll make sure to bring the mousepad with me for the round of 16, and I'll try to have a good showing. Looking forward to seeing good things from you this season of the ASL. Congratulations, thanks for the interview. Thank you. And that does it for our interview with the first player to advance to the round of 16 this season in Mini. 3 people are left standing and only one will make it to the round of 16. Who will it be? We'll take a short break and we'll be back with a losers match in just a few.
Welcome back, guys. Great games today, man. These games have just been so good.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can keep this going. We know we're going to have some bad games somewhere in here, but this match should be a fun one. Shuttle versus Scan. I feel like this is a close, even fight. I might even say Scan a little bit favored. Scan honestly looked really good versus Mini. Like, if you had that game played out, like, 10, 20 more times, I think there's a couple instances where Scan could have won.
Absolutely. It was close. Scan's,
I think
Scan's
the
looking
sandbagging
great.
the sandbagging from Mini at the entrance was crazy. Oh, God, we're going to Polestar.
Yeah, Polestar's a cool map. It's like, it's pretty standard, but it's got the most interesting expansion layouts I've seen in a long time. It's just, it feels more dynamic about what bases you can take in what order here than on any other 4-player map I've played in years and years and years. And maybe ever, honestly.
I think that's a really good way to sum it up. Yeah, this is a great map, a very expansion-heavy map, by the way. Some maps, like, we don't have that many bases. And then other maps we have a ton. But this is one where should make for a great game.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with Shuttle and Scan, one of these guys is going to be knocked out, possibly both by the end of the evening. But I think they've had great performances here. 2 guys who lost, but lost really, giving it their all. So let's see who's actually going to survive this next round.
Yeah, hard to say. One thing I do want to mention is because it's like the 3 new maps that they each get to veto one, every Terran player will be vetoing Death Valley except in mirror matchups. So that kind of allows their opponents to choose which map. So this is, we don't know how much Scan likes this map. He probably likes it, but this is definitely the map Shuttle wanted to play.
Yeah, every season we have 1 or 2 maps that players don't want to touch, and so they all end up vetoing them, and we kind of forget they even exist until we get to the finals. It has to finally be shown. So yeah, we probably won't be seeing that a whole lot of that map for a little bit here. Yeah, Scan versus Shuttle. Kind of sad that we're going to have one of these guys go already. I feel like it's been so long since we casted ASL. We're already back, and 2 iconic players, but one's going to get knocked out, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. The way Scan was playing was fantastic. Shuttle is really good PvT when he gets the late game, so could be hard for Scan there.
All right, guys, we're going to go into this losers match now and knock one of these players out. Scan versus Shuttle starting now. All right, Shuttle in the bottom left, Scan in the top left here. And it's on a 4-player map. I mean, there's generally not a lot of crazy cheese or weird stuff that can happen here. I did want to point out, and this is something I'm probably going to mention a couple times this season. I've been thinking about this. Nexus First has been extremely popular.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's been a phase. Sometimes we have like there was a period where everybody was going carriers, like the season mini one.
Yeah.
Carriers were so common, and it was like, oh, is this the direction the matchup is going to go now? And it didn't. It was a very short-lived thing. Obviously, we still have carriers from time to time. But Nexus First has just stayed really big, and we have this kind of new wave of openers that I call deep macro openings.
Okay.
Which we didn't have in the old days, but like if you go Nexus First and Terran goes for like a very quick command center, it's a different game, man. It's a very, and all the orders of the upgrades come out differently. The rates at which a 3rd or 4th base can be taken, the rules are very new. And it's been really interesting to kind of see this play out. And I think we're going to have a lot more of this to come. Now, in this game, it's actually a forward gateway, which, again, is very common nowadays, like we said in the previous cast. Not new, but certainly not bad. But in this season, I want to try to explore more in general some of these deep macro openings because they are so different, and it's kept the game very fresh. But I guess for this best of one this time around, nobody wants to risk it because if you go for that Nexus First play as an example, you could be cheesed just by 2 Raxes in the middle of the map. Do you really want to take your losing game with that kind of risk?
Sure.
You could even be cheesed with like Marines, SCVs, and Vultures. There's a bunch of rushes. So
yeah.
In this case, forward gateway.
Yeah, and definitely getting, if he is going to get gas, it is going to be a little bit later here. No offensive gas or anything here for Shuttle. I do want to just mention, so you called it deep macro, right?
Yeah.
So just for the record, I just want to make sure I don't make a faux pas that you have made in the past. Are you the inventor of...
I'm the inventor of deep macro, and I'm also the inventor of you inventing crazy Zerg,
yes,
okay?
that's quite true.
Actually, both those ideas are kind of my idea in a way, right?
Dude, almost every video I put up nowadays, people just, like, they'll say something and they'll be like, that's really cool from the creator of Crazy Zerg. It's just...
That's so funny. I remember the day I was literally in your apartment and we were casting before we had hardly any casting. We were casting from your house on your computer, and you went, "Oh, he's gone crazy, Zerg." And I remember rolling my eyes like, "That's the worst name ever." And I just judged you for it.
Yeah.
I didn't push you on it or anything. I just went, "Well, that's just a terrible branding name for that." I guess that's what we're calling it. Crazy Zerg.
Yeah.
By the way, the Zealot. Oh,
you got it.
This is some pressure. This is actually, that's 3 Zealots?
Yeah, that's kind of
okay.
surprising to see.
I always thought this was just 2 Zealots and then a Dragoon.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see the 3 Zealots. I don't think 3 Zealots is good at all. Honestly, I don't even like 2 Zealots. And he's doing better with it than you oftentimes will. Like, let's say it was cross-spawn, you're never going to get this damage. But maybe he alters the build based on that, you know? It's like, oh, you weren't close or something. Like, maybe I skip this and it's cross-spawn, so I just make a Nexus, that type of thing. But, like, when someone makes this many Zealots against me, I'm happy about it, generally. You know?
Yeah.
It's just that it slows everything else down so much.
You know, I was going to say, maybe we're going to see this play out, but in my head, I just think the Vulture chases it down and kills it. But I guess if he pulls away fast, I guess the idea is if he's going to go for an add-on, which some people might do anyways, right? Kind of going down the mindset that we had. Maybe the 3rd Zealot does a lot of damage, but if not, you just pull back and then you push like this.
I can't believe that he got that SCV right before it finished. That's insane. That's insane. He looks like a genius now. 99% bunker. Oh, no. No, Tasteless, no.
Look at the control, too. All 3 Zealots are alive still. I think he's not going to go up the ramp, which is probably the right move. And just, that's crazy.
You know what is going on in Shuttle's head right now? I'm better than you, Scan! Ha! That's exactly what he's thinking at the moment, killing that SCV, making the bunker at 99%. Oh, my God.
I'm relieved that you also didn't expect the 3rd Zealot, because sometimes I look at these games and I'm like, so do I just kind of not understand all the builds, almost? Like, in everything that I try to do, I'm like, am I just doing all the builds kind of like the pros, but wrong?
Yeah.
But I honestly, here, I think there are some pretty cool ideas. So, you know, the Robo finally starts as well as the 2nd gateway. You know, these builds were popular on maps where you had a ramp that went down into their main. You know, because I think it's hard for Terran to try to fight up from low ground to high ground, but it just seems like it's become more and more popular to do this on all sorts of maps. Maybe because
you mean like
a lot of
the heavy pressure?
Yeah, the Zealots into Dragoons.
I'll be honest with you, Tasteless. I don't think that this is a very good build from Shuttle. I'm with you that the 3 Zealots is a little bit weird. Like, if he is 1 second later and that SCV finishes the bunker, Scan has his command center finishing, and there's, like, nothing Shuttle can do. Now, obviously he's in a good position holding the bottom of this ramp, and I'll give him props for going 2nd gateway before Robo. I think too few Protoss are willing to do that in these types of situations. But, like, this... I don't think that this works out this well each time. Like, the initial Zealot pressure even, like, he got more Marines than he probably should have.
I guess, you know, in this case, it's like this interaction had panned out. I guess if they were in cross spawns, it would have been disastrous, right?
Yeah.
But I guess seeing the 3rd Zealot, like we saw here, I'm like, I wonder if on other maps this could be used, you know, more easily. By the way, it seems like Shuttle is going to send a 3rd probe here to possibly expand at 6.
That's the best play.
Keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, you just like when your opponent, when you force them into siege mode turrets, you should just make a Nexus. Like, whenever Terran goes siege mode in turrets, everything else gets so slowed down. There's just no real attack. The only thing they might be able to do is pull a dropship out, but then they're really low on factory units. So it's like, maybe probe damage. Otherwise, they're just playing like a steady, slow game.
Yeah, I mean, he's still on the 2 gates for the time being. We don't see Reaver Tech yet, but that could be coming. Reaver Tech after a third base is totally acceptable. We really don't know what kind of tech is going to be coming at all right now. I mean, really anything could be the right answer. It could be quick arbiters. It could be quick carriers. It could be, none of the above, and it just kind of gateway man for a little bit here, getting ready to try to win a fight. Oh my God, the Observer barely lives there. 1 HP on that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to see everything that he needs to see right here. He spotted the 2 factories. He sees that there are more upgrades coming. He knows there's Vulture speed as well as siege mode because he's already spotted those units with those upgrades. And he sees the armory, by the way, finally. We see that on the minimap. We haven't seen it on screen, but I know he saw that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Shuttle's in pretty good shape right now. Not that Scan is like at a massive disadvantage, but I think Shuttle's set up pretty comfortably. A lot of, once the Terran kind of fends everything off, it's sort of the Protoss's turn to try to make sure the pylon walls are all there, that they've got the observers in the right spot, that they've got Dragoons ready to, both defend from Vultures, but maybe also stop a push depending on the composition of the Terran. So yeah, so far it's sizing up to be a pretty good game.
This is kind of a funny follow-up from Shuttle, by the way. Like, he has an observer in there, and he got good scouting down, so I think he's totally fine doing what he's doing, but the fact that he's going, like, he has observer, and he went, like, it was like a 2-gate observer into third base. Okay, standard, good stuff. And then he just added 2 gates and a citadel. So that's not, like, super common. I think he's just going to go pretty fast arbiter here. I'd be pretty surprised at anything else. There is a possibility that he goes gateway man from here, but that would be surprising, and since he's already taken a second gas, I'm going to go ahead and guess that this should be, like, a pretty quick 3-base arbiter.
Yeah, we've had periods where one tech seems to be more dominant. Like, is it carriers? Is it going to be arbiters? And then we've had a pretty modern tech, which is the double robo speed shuttle play, which I think is really fun, and it's a really different game. And it seemed like for a while that was kind of unbeatable. And people still do it, but I think it's not as overwhelmingly popular as it was.
It definitely isn't as popular as it was. Like, definitely I've seen a resurgence of arbiter builds specifically. I think that
it's because a lot of... Sorry, Tastosis, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, arbiter builds are just, like, really good against 5 and 6 fact play. But that has died off a little bit, so it feels like it's kind of up in the air. It feels like you can kind of do any tech right now as Protoss, and it's okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think arbiter builds can fight off a lot of the... Well, I think, for a while, Terrans were taking quick thirds, and I think arbiter builds could kind of punish that. And, five factories become very popular, kind of 2-base powering, which is, I think sometimes puts the Protoss in kind of a weird position because they're not sure exactly what's coming. It can be hard to get in and see what's going on. And, sometimes, okay, like, there's a push coming probably before the third base, but you don't know when, right?
Yeah.
Like, in this case, the command center's being made, so that might land as the push comes out. From the Protoss's perspective, when the Terran's kind of buttoned up, it can be very unclear. Are they about to attack? Are they staying back? You're kind of looking for clues, excuse me.
And, you have to make sure you're nailing your macro for that. If you are just slightly short on units, then you can be in a lot of trouble. But right now, Shuttle is macroing well. I really like the timing of his 4th base. I think that that's really, really good. And as he sees the Goliath tank kind of move up into that position, he's going to know that it's like an additional base coming up. So, like, I look at this type of position, Tasteless, and it's like, okay, if you macro heavily as Shuttle, do not attack. I know that he's up in supply right now, but, like, that's how you let Scan get right back into this game, because he's going to have his Arbiters out, he's going to get all of his spells, he's going to be able to max out, his 4th Nexus just finished. And if you can take the 5th Nexus, you're basically forcing Terran to do something as opposed to doing it yourself.
So this is a pretty scary looking bust. This ramp down here, it's going to be hard for Protoss to ever kind of get in there and hit those tanks, but at the same time, he can kind of play keep away. He can get up here and start to hit this command center. I don't know that tanks can push up here. This is actually very uncomfortable for both sides. If Protoss oversteps, they're going to lose all their Dragoons. If the Terran pushes up the ramp too quickly, they can lose all their tanks. But it seems like overall this is kind of paying off for Scan.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't force the command center to lift, and you didn't kill a ton of tanks, you basically failed.
Scan went down by like 6 supply on, and he was only mining on 2 bases that whole time. And Shuttle went down by like 20 supply, and he's mining off 4 bases during that time. So, like, cost efficiency-wise, that was pretty terrible for Shuttle. And now he's going to have to remass up. He has to remake a bunch of Dragoons. He has, he lost his Shuttle in there. The Zealots are a little bit expendable, but he's got to, just kind of macro up his supply again. The supplies are a lot closer now. Like I said, I feel like this is... And I've casted a lot of Shuttle games lately, and a lot of games of his over the years. Every single PvT, he does one terribly stupid attack, and then he plays like a god after that. So it's like, he can still win this, but I think that attack was very poor. If he just makes a 5th Nexus there, sits in his arc, gets his upgrades and everything, you're forcing Scan to either expand again really quickly or do a timing push. And neither of those look good when Shuttle's up 50 supply.
It's always a little awkward for the guy who's Protoss going for the bust when the bust backfires, because we were joking about like home story style casting, which is basically like a lot of StarCraft 2 pros when they've casted games, they're looking for, and this is not wrong by the way, you're looking for like where's the first mistake in the build order, so you know where you went wrong, but they'll oftentimes declare the loser when it's like no, it's not set
game's over. He lost 1 extra unit. Game's over, and it's like. Well, no, because his opponent's going to make a mistake. Don't worry. This is how StarCraft actually works.
This would be like one of those moments, right? Like the bus doesn't work. You're like, well, this is kind of losing here, right? Like this is not ideal for you. Right now, he's going to set up for a bust, and he's going to try to go again. I got to say the spread from Scan looks really good.
Yeah.
Now, also, the growth at the bottom of the map is looking really good, too. So he's going to come in here. He needs to get a freeze as far back as he can go, and, that's not a good one.
No.
When the Protoss dives in these moments, one of the problems they could face is that they can't see how far back the tanks are. You can look at a position and think, okay, I think I see, 70% of this, and you see 50%, and there's 5 more tanks just, eye shot back.
But don't you think that some credit should be given? You're playing an ASL level Terran player. You should know that he's got to be 150, 160 supply, and one Arbiter spell doesn't kill that if they have mines in front. Like you're never going to break them there, ever.
No, I agree. I think that one of the weird things when you go Arbiters is like there becomes this point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like this map is actually, I can't remember the name of the other map, but we were casting a map where it's like players are going Arbiter, but you're never going to get to recall in their main. Because of the way the map is shaped.
Yeah, there's definitely... Radion's kind of like that, where like Radion, you can kind of seal it up pretty well. They actually left an Arbiter path, though, on Polestar behind the 3rd base. Just very similar to Vermeer.
Yeah, as I was saying that, I'm like, oh no, there's a little pathway back there.
Yeah.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, you need to get in there and try to chunk out and kill some tanks and remax with the stasis, because that's all you can do. If you go Arbiters on maps like this.
Yeah.
Is run in there, kill stuff, run away. Rinse, repeat. Do we have Storm anywhere?
I don't think he has Storm. Like, I think he's just been focusing on his gateway macro and everything, and he's going to 6 base right now. He's got a lot of gates. Oh, no, he has some high Templars coming out.
Okay. So you basically can't beat Terran with just Arbiter anymore. Like in a long game. Like, you will just lose. They will EMP you. Both the EMP spell and the Stasis spell are very clunky and kind of hard to pull off and, like, easy to miss. Like the Arbiter has to like somehow, it's like a Call of Duty like slide it has to do before it casts it if you don't execute it correctly. So they're just not great spells is what I'm trying to get at. Storm, over time, the first couple storms don't seem to kill the Terran, and then the damage accumulates. But right now we're in a game that looks pretty 50-50. I mean, Protoss has got a great amount of the map. He doesn't have control of the top right, which is always kind of the final place you're trying to get to. Great storms on the Vultures. By the way, I was watching, some other players stream that are learning the game, and I noticed they're always trying to storm the tanks, and it's like, you can storm Vultures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's better.
Okay.
Okay, here comes the recall. He's been setting this up for a little bit. Flies right past those turrets to the main. There are dude. Holy crap. He did it right on the mines, and the EMP hit the second Arbiter, which was the key to that.
Yeah. So what happened? I'm going to repeat that because this was such a specific thing that went down. He wanted to recall a second Arbiter and then recall the rest of his army, but the EMP connected exactly when the second Arbiter was recalled.
Exactly.
So it didn't deny the spell. It didn't deny the spell on the first Arbiter. It actually let the second Arbiter recall, which is, by the way, I don't think intentional by Scan, no disrespect. That's just an insane interaction. And so now, Shuttle's lost a lot of his army. He's remaxed. A lot of this is going to be coming out of gateways. Oh, and another EMP. This is, by the way, why Arbiters are not as popular in certain situations.
Yeah, Scan has dealt with this really, really well. This is an actual, considering army sizes and quality, that was actually a pretty decent engagement for Shuttle, although it wasn't, I wouldn't go as far as to call it good. Like, the Scan has definitely got a way better army at this point. We've seen, like, a completely failed recall. We've seen 3 incapacitated Arbiters at this point. Shuttle's setting up more bases. He has a lot of gateways and stuff. But if Scan macros really, really cleanly while pushing, and look at this, he's expanding to the top right. Scan is on fire right now. He is putting out a beautiful game.
He is killing it right now. So there's going to be a contained setup out here. The fortunate thing for Shuttle is that he has gateways in the bottom right, so he still has a way to get units on the map. But, I mean, this is really looking rough. 2-2 is done, which means 3-3 is not far away. He's now forking off certain sets of units, like tanks and a couple vultures, to just shell these other bases. And the whole time, uncontested bases are popping up in the top right side of the map. I mean, I'm not saying the game's over, but it's looking pretty bad right now for Shuttle.
If you can set up another main and natural, like if you get beyond 4 bases while you're pushing, Protoss has almost no chance at that point. Because you can spend units like they can then. Like you can just kind of attack, move around the map, and you can trade even at like a slight deficit because you've already choked up a lot of the map. Their units aren't all together. Like, this is a completely winning position for Scan.
Okay, so he's going to keep retreating back here. I got to say, he kept a lot of his bases alive. Like, Shuttle's still functioning. Oh, this Nexus is about to die. Okay, I thought for some reason, it was mines or something. I didn't realize there were still 3 tanks. So, yeah, I mean, right now the question is, can Shuttle get his arms around this situation? The way the tanks are spread out, and they're so upgraded, it's so hard to engage, especially when you consider that we saw a lot of Arbiters die. We've seen like 3 Arbiters die off, so there's a lot of stasises that could have been used here to try to isolate parts of the army to engage with. He's going to try to get another stasis off up here. Not bad, actually. I don't know if he can kind of get down to this bottom area where the real damage is coming out of. These entrenched tanks over here.
I tell you, this is just a beautiful Terran versus Protoss out of Scan. Shuttle maybe did 1 to 2 attack/recalls that were not very good, but he had a lot of bases and a lot of potential going on. And between Scan's setup, like getting him to recall on mines, hitting that EMP, which I would agree with you, that was a little bit of a lucky EMP. I don't think he timed that. I think he was probably like, oh, we'll throw down the EMP so he has to recall right here rather than beyond in the base. But just the fact that he got that was huge. But he's following it up so well. Like, the way he's moving around the map, he's killed 1, 2, 3, 4 Nexuses, and he's going on his 5th.
Now, this run has been incredible, but it comboed with the fact that there are more bases and more bases popping up. He's taken the 9 o'clock base. He's taken the very top right starting location, as well as other expansions here. I don't think that there's a real easy way out of here for Shuttle. Remember that he is off of 1 forge, so he has +2 attack. This is 2-2, soon to be 3-3, actually. Terran units. And, without many Arbiters, without many Storms, there's just not a lot you can do. So I think we're going to see him tap out here.
Yeah, that's it. GG. Wow. And Scan really happy with his very first map win here in ASL. He's been in 3 seasons now, and that's the first time he's been able to get a win. And it's over Shuttle, a former champion, albeit of Season 1, a very strong PvT player. I do think, though, that that first attack didn't really make sense. The second attack didn't really make sense. And then, obviously, Scan nailed him with the EMP on that recall. And that was huge. So now Scan goes to the final match and has a real opportunity here against Calm. Calm does not have unbeatable Zerg versus Terran. You know, Soul Key, Hero, Queen, I'd put all my money on them against any Terran in the world right now. But Calm is not one of those players.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one coming up here. No Protoss in this final match for once. It's going to be a TVZ to close us out. The winner survives into the round of 16. The loser is out. God damn, it's so good. ASL is back. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. We'll see you for the final match in a sec.
Compré una bala, no soy de huelga, vuelo con alas, amor desgraciado. No quise palabras, quería besar, quería tocarte, quería amar. Y como pensé con toda mi fe que no podemos lograr. No quise palabras, quería besar, quería tocarte, quería amar. Como pensé con soy desvalgada. Vuelo con alas, amor desgraciado. Compré una bruna, 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 soy desvalgada. Compré una bruna, 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 soy desvalgada. Compré una bruna, 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 soy desvalgada. Compré una bruna, 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 soy desvalgada.
We're back, everybody. This is it. This is the last match in Group A. One hell of a group, man. Let's see how we close it out.
All right, Radeon and Deja Vu both being banned here. Going to play this one on Dominator. I'll be honest with you, Tastosis, I think this is a pretty good map for Terran vs. Zerg. If you get into like a regular game, those low ground main bases are harmful for dropship play. You know, like you can really get dropships in easier on this map than almost any other map. Now, that being said, really high-quality Mutalisk harassment does wonders at the top left and bottom left bases. The mineral setup there is very, very hard to defend without tech units.
Interesting. Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, I think Calm has shown, like, really scary play here today, and Scan as well. It's actually kind of sad one of these guys has to go. I know we say that a lot, but, I mean, already we're having just two incredible players die out here. After a really good performance. So let's see who's going to be our final survivor here. Scan versus Calm on a map that's been on the ladder for some time now. I like your analysis that the mains are very droppable. Sometimes that's all you need to do to kill a Zerg.
Yeah.
Right before you get into late game is to have, 2 to 4 dropships come in there and cause chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe Zerg plays around it and tries to end it early. Calm has shown a real range in play here. Being willing to do a crazy cheese or just do a macro play and play conservatively.
Well, I tell you, I'm excited to see what Scan chooses to open with. Will it be a tech opener? Will it, I could see him throwing 2 barracks in the center, man. That's an easy way to get to the round of 16 is Calm goes hatch first and you just roll him over. Like that. That's a real possibility.
We've got a lot of center gate, center rack strategies that are totally available in this season. I think that's by design.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah, let's find out. We're going to go into that final game now, guys. Let's get into it. Okay. Scan in the center right position, and Calm here in the very bottom left.
Scan's spot here, this 3 o'clock position, is by miles the best position for Terran vs. Zerg. So that's a nice start for him already. It's got a good high-quality wall at the natural, and your minerals are against the wall, so you can defend it normally. The other 2 positions, the minerals are kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it's really hard to defend against mutas in those spawns.
I have a hard time even getting my workers to mine right. Like in the top left spot.
Oh, really?
Such a weird location. Yeah.
That's actually the fastest mining position across all maps in the pool right now.
I've heard that. It doesn't feel like it though.
I'll show you how to do it later if you want. It's like you have to use.
Is it how I need to angle the workers?
Yeah. So there's 2 that's really hard to angle, but you don't even need boosting on that spot. It's really. I'll show you. It's if you use the 3 lefternmost patches, and then the patch like 9 and 7. If you those are your first 5 patches, and you're golden.
Okay. All right. I'm stealing this after the show. Thank you, Tastosis.
You're welcome.
Still learning about this game, guys. We're all still learning.
We all are.
Games keeps growing, keeps changing. A couple new maps come out, and we learn new things and build that into our play. So it's going to be a quick hatch over here for Calm. No center raxes or anything like that. Although we do have a forward barracks over here at the entrance. This has been around for a while now. It's pretty common.
Yeah, that wall is quite a good wall. You do have one gap. That's one of the changes that this version of Dominator has made. The changes between Dominator this season and last season are basically before we had Zergling tight walls at bottom left and mid right. They're no longer Zergling tight. They kind of made it so no matter how you wall it, you have to have a hole in it. Also, the buildable terrain on your pizza slice goes a little bit further out, so you can support expanding to your third base against Protoss with a missile turret. And they also put up some walls so Terran can't free siege a main base without something that spots. So, yeah, some like vision blockers.
I wouldn't mind having Fighting Spirit get just redone. Like, I know that it's kind of like the old map and everybody knows it, but that map could definitely like use some upgrades on it. Like, some of the wall-ins are really hard to do. And the positions are kind of awkwardly set up.
Well, they have remade it. Like, Retro was a remake of Fighting Spirit. Like, specifically, they took Fighting Spirit and they're like,
a more dramatic remake of it. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I know. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And they actually tried another one that I forget what it was called. It was called like Blue Spirit or something like that. And it was like this tile set, but Fighting Spirit, and they just kind of opened up the third bases a little bit more. And it was like okay-ish.
It just feels like we're going to have Fighting Spirit forever, but we might want to just have like a kind of more modernized version of it. Just because, like, a lot of these other maps, the entrances are very easy to wall. They're very easy to kind of wrap your head around. Where I feel like some of the spots on Fighting Spirit are very confusing. Or kind of, weirdly placed and weirdly set up. But
yeah, it's just too old.
Maybe it actually should just be replaced by something like Neo Sylphid or something that's like just kind of standard and good. Anyways, he actually spotted this Overlord here on the side. He's going to go ahead and lift the barracks off. The SCV saw there wasn't anything heading towards him. He's not going to kill it, but that would have been nice if he had actually sniped the Overlord. Back in Calm's side of the map, he's getting his second gas, going for that Spire now. Yeah,
I got to say, I like the type of approach that Scan is taking. You can see it's a +1 rush. So he'll be going up to 4 barracks almost certainly, and trying to keep heavy pressure on Calm. I think that that's a good choice against Calm. Like, I don't think that Calm's Mutiling is that good. Like, there's only a few Zergs that I trust playing against this type of play with Mutiling, Like, other Zergs, I'm like, okay, maybe you better get Lurkers quick or something like that. But, like, for instance, Sulky, I'd be like, yeah, no problem. He'll kill all these +1 Marines easily and then go kill you with his Mutalisks that are left over, But, like, the players that aren't 100% top tier, like, I think it's basically Sulky and Hero and maybe Queen that can do that consistently. But this is just, for anyone opening Mutalisk, this is going to be a little bit of a trouble.
Yeah, it's hard to pull off. Medic Marine and Ling Muta are funny because, like, it can go either way so badly.
Yeah.
If one guy just kind of knows when he can get in and do the damage. One thing about a lot of the interactions in the game is it's not always that cut and dry. Like, sometimes Lings are way better than Zealots. Other times Zealots are way better than Lings. A lot of these PvT fights we see, if the Terran really knows how to control his units, he can wreck the Protoss. But if the Protoss really knows how to, like, keep his goons at the right distance and back up or know when to dive in, it can go either way. I think it's one of the things that's kept the game interesting for so long is because it's not, and this is not a knock on StarCraft 2, but StarCraft 2 is very fast and you can move everything at once. And it's things are very slippery and kind of, they feel oily when you move them around. They kind of slide around each other.
Yeah.
It's harder to get things into positions, and the fights are a little bit slower in StarCraft 1, which I think it can make for a lot more interesting situations.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that sentiment. Scan here, going to push those mutas back. They do fly to an intelligent position, I'd say. Every Terran makes their missile turrets in order of where the mutas can get to first, so sometimes Zergs will just fly to the furthest point, thinking the missile turrets might not be ready, and he was right, so he gets like a couple kills. He did kind of sneak a third base. It's not weird to have a third base right now, but like where he put it, that's like a hard spot to scout.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty removed. What do you think about these turrets that were kind of forced right up to this high ground area? It feels like it's a weak spot to put it
is.
at, but I'd also I don't know why he has his barracks in this engineering bay. It's like so close to the outside. A lot of players I see, you basically would like drag click all this and then move it to the right and drop it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so the thing is what you want, this is worse against early game mutas, but better for late game macro. Because it's really hard in this main base to fit all your production buildings if you put those in a safer spot earlier on. So I think he'd probably put them there because he's going +1. He can keep the mutas out of his base a bit more with a build like this. So like maybe that's the type of plan. And in fact, he's attacking across right now. There's a lot of overlords in the center. The mutas have taken a lot of damage. Scan has his +1, I believe. He has range. He has stim. This is kind of scary.
He's moving out now. Now again, when you get far out enough, it's hard to ever get back home. The mutas can kind of keep taking these shots at you whenever you're too far spread out. I love the Lings over here in the bottom. I think Scan's going to lose everything. Yeah. I think Scan, he's pushed out. He actually took out a decent amount of mutas, though, so a bit of a trade. But at the same time, when you see this kind of movement, it keeps the Terran able to then reproduce back at home and make more Marines and make turrets and kind of defend. So you do want to draw them out a little bit, but definitely a good engage there by Com.
Yeah, it's good for him to clear that out, If you're not pretty efficient about that, then the Marines will just march over to your third base and wreck it. He does have a Hydralisk Den. I don't know how far along the Lurker upgrade is, but he can't stay on just Mutiling anymore. Like, he is really going to need to have Lurkers in position relatively soon. And in fact, I think I saw an add-on. Yeah, an add-on on that factory. So Scan is going to go for a Siege Tank timing push. This is a very strong build. If we don't know if Com has his hive started yet. But if he doesn't,
really
that's a big problem.
Yeah. No, it's pretty much been us just kind of watching, the movement here in the middle of the map. Didn't see those 2 Hydras, soon to be Lurkers. Oh, no, he did, actually.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
The Death Vision saw him.
Yeah. When you kill something, the vision stays there for a little bit longer, so you want to kind of count at maybe 2 or 3 before you move into that area. Okay, well, we got to see. Okay, there is 5 more Lurkers going to be added to the mix. Keep in mind, if there's no vessel, you can hold position these Lurkers and end up losing everything as Terran.
Yeah, and hold position is super, super scary. There's also the thought process of putting up a contain, but I don't think he can. Scan has too forward a position. So everything looking really good for Scan. I just want to see what the hive timing is looking like, because like the push that Scan... Oh my god, he doesn't even have a hive started. Okay, so Scan's build, if he does this all right and Com doesn't pull something crazy off with these Lurkers, Scan should be way ahead.
The question is going to be, is he ready for this fight? The 2 bunkers back there is huge, by the way, and the way they're spaced out. Like, he has a lot he can fall back on. He sees the Lurkers.
Huge. This looks bad for Com right now. Like, this is kind of an all-in-ish play from him. The fact that he's just sitting here spending all of his gas on Lurkers. The Siege Tanks that Scan has are going to be unbelievably strong.
Okay, he's moving in now. Lurkers are going to come down here and burrow. Now, the first bunker is going to buy him a little bit of time. The fact that there's depots here, he can also just kind of hold off for a little bit longer. Remember, these tanks have some crazy long range. I think he basically survived.
Yeah.
I think Scan just... again, game's not over, but, without the hive tech here...
Game's pretty over.
With the Queen's Nest started here, there's going to be a big window where Scan can push and probably make this work. I think he wants to try to irradiate. I think he just got the resources for it. Dude, not sure if you want to save it for the mutas or maybe try to get a fleeing Lurker with that. This push looks so scary. By the way, you don't even care where the third base is at this point in time.
You just go kill him. That's it. That's all there is to it. And he can only counterattack. Just ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. That's all you need. Macro up. Tanks, Marines,
you just
medics.
Say that one more time, Marto?
Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
That when Scan coaches me, that's what he does when I'm not macroing. He goes ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. It's like the sound of hitting the keyboard quick to macro.
But when Scan's trying to help me, he wears tap shoes, and with his feet he goes ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yes.
And I remember to make units at home.
Exactly. But all he has to do here is macro cleanly. Like, he's still got a bunker at the front. He's still making tanks and vessels. This army just can't be beat by Zerg if you control it reasonably well.
Oh!
That's
what?
a good snipe.
He got that vessel?
Yeah, that's real nice.
That's insane. Still going to be hard. Lurkers are going to morph out here. 3 tanks. Insta-siege. Maybe a little bit premature. Never mind. He's going to move in. Good and irradiate. You always want to try to get an irradiate that's not on the top muta. I remember my brother explained it to me when we were kids, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's like you're trying to pick a card, but like not the one on the top of the deck,
yes.
like one sticking out on the side. Another scan. Where's the scan? Oh no, what am I saying? He has a vessel.
Where's
I'm
the
dumb.
scan?
All right.
He's in the round of 16.
In the round of 16. That's what I meant to say.
That is so sick.
That's what I meant to say. All right.
Dude, that is amazing. That is amazing. I am so happy right now for Scan. Making it to his first round of 16, well-deserved. Calm, I don't know what he was thinking with that, where he's like, I'm just going to make like a ton of lurkers and run up. It just, Scan had that bunker already in position. He kept a great position. He did a great spread there. And he just kind of blocked everything that Calm had going on. Also, obviously played a great game against Shuttle and even a great game against Mini. Scan did fantastically here tonight.
He killed it. He really, really killed it. I'm really happy for him. Really nice guy. Really hardworking. Is he streaming nowadays? Do you know?
Yeah, he still streams, but it's like on Soup. He doesn't really do Twitch anymore.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's funny. We saw this set up for an attack, and, you know, it just didn't look like it was going to work. And, you know, the fact that he wasn't trying to tech into the next phase of the game, but trying to kind of end it right here, right now. Look, sometimes if you just attack into somebody and they're well defended, there's not a whole lot else to say, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, that is a scary attack. The thing is, just making him burrow one time, you've already won because you have siege tanks, you know? Like,
right.
This needs to go up, and the first burrow has to do almost everything for you. Because it just takes so long to unburrow and reburrow lurkers, and Scan just held it perfectly. The double bunker, 2 tanks in siege mode, he was completely unkillable here, just based off the build order he chose.
I like even the 2 depots in front of the bunker like this, how it works out, because it's hard to get even right in front of that bunker and then hit everything, you know, the bunker and everything behind it. Anyways, guys, we got an interview. Let's see how Scan is feeling. That Scan in that picture. Okay.
ASL Season19 24강
And that does it for the opening day of the round of 24 of ASL Season 19. Let's talk to our second place finisher, Scan. Congratulations. Thank you. This is surely a very meaningful day for you. Right. Your 3rd appearance in the ASL. You got your first win. And you advanced to the round of 16 for the first time. This really takes the biscuit. It was inspiring to see how happy you were taking that win. How did you feel? So good, so happy. I don't have a phrase, a way to describe this happiness with words, let's say. I feel so good. The nervousness of making it in for the first time, the frustration at losing. All of these things turned out for the best for you, right? They were necessary steps in this process of development that brought you this victory today. You must remember how you practiced. Right. There was a lot going through my head during practice. There's a lot of StarCraft content other than ASL, like JPL. So, preparing for the ASL at the same time, I was struggling with time, naturally. I had to cram a lot. Getting your first win, but also advancing today, must make you so happy. But once again, Mini got the better of you. That must be bitter, but there is a chance you meet again in the round of 16. There is that chance. Do you want to pay him back? Or I want revenge. You both advanced from the same group. Do you want to meet again, and this time in a best of 3? Still, personally, I'd rather play against other players, no. In the losers match against Shuttle, it seemed you had warmed up your hands sufficiently. Despite clear moments of crisis, you showed stellar defense and macroed up to victory. Going back to that game, which moment can you think of as a crisis situation? In the losers match, we played on Polestar, and I spawned at 11 o'clock. I always build my supply depot and barracks SimCity this way, but it ended up being a problem because when the Zealot pressure came, one of the Marines went the wrong way and got stuck. I lost a Marine, I lost an SCV. I took some damage in the early game. But regardless, you continued unfazed and with anxiety gone, moved on to the decider match where, against Calm, the way you defended against mutas, the way you dealt with lurkers, your performance showed how you've grown. I'm curious as to how satisfied you yourself are with your performance today. Oh, very much so. And you're now going to play in your first round of 16 match. You have to show more games in the round of 16, and surely you must have a lot you want to show. That is correct. What do you want to show? The round of 16 is rife with tremendously strong players. If I want to set the round of 8 as my goal, then I will need to practice diligently, even more diligently than I did here. I'll do my best to prepare. There's a lot of fans here today, even from overseas, carrying cheerfuls with your nickname on them. Do you have any words of thanks for your fans? To all the fans who came from afar and those watching online, thank you. Thank you for cheering for me. And thanks to C from the YB clan, the YB members, our Terrans who came to support me. Thank you. And before I forget, the players who helped me practice, YSC Motive, that does it for Protoss, and Zerg, Pitbull, Dashik. Oh, can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry. You can thank them later directly. I shall do so, yes. You must be so touched by the fact you advanced. Your memory is failing you. Has to be it. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I hope you have as good a showing for the fans and your colleagues in the round of 16 too. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for the interview. And that does it for our interview with the second place finisher of this opening group of the round of 24 of ASL Season 19 in Scan.
All right. Well, there you hear it from Scan himself. What a great day of games, man. This was just so fun. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, this was amazing. I'm so happy that ASL is back. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please get the word around, let people know. This one's starting just a little bit later this year. I think people have been wondering for a while, but here it is. It's back. We had an amazing day one. That is not always the case, but I think it's setting us up for an epic season.
Yeah, every game was really fun, really special. Interesting to see Calm kind of lock into the mid-game play and try to all in. It would have been fun to see if he had played something a little bit longer. But anyways, regardless, a lot of great games here. We're going to be back with a very Terran-heavy day tomorrow. It's going to be Rush, Hyun, Royal, and Speed. As a reminder, guys, these are recorded after they happen. These VODs you're watching right now are recorded after they happen and then released 2 days later. So if you're watching this now, the day it came out, the next one should be out tomorrow.
Yep.
Just avoid spoilers. If you're somebody who, you have a bunch of friends on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it, and they're talking about it, or you're in Discord groups, or you go to Team Liquid, you don't want to spoil these games for yourself. Do the Game of Thrones rules, just avoid the spoilers for just a few days, and you can enjoy this just as if we were doing it live.
Yeah. And it's actually, I do have to correct you. We never take 2 days. It's 36 hours after the games are played. We have that
36 hours.
Yeah.
You're right.
It can be a little bit quicker or a little bit slower based on how quickly they upload it. But you and I do it very quickly thereafter. So.
Yep. Yeah. You and I are doing it like clockwork. I think we made some great improvements here as well. I think Ziggy's done a great job.
Indeed.
Last season translating, and he's back here again with us. And we really have focused on in the last couple seasons on just getting it out fast and not having it overproduced or over-edited.
Yep.
This is going to be a fun day, Tastosis. So you got anybody you're looking at to advance here? I'm guessing Rush Royal, but...
Yeah, I mean, all the Terran players. I think Hyun is really screwed in this group. Speed is just on top of the world right now, man. He has been playing everything. He has been number one. Like, if you look at the top 10 ladder accounts, like six of them were him last season. So, like, the guy is playing out of his mind right now. I'm really excited to see how he can do against Rush and Royal, who are just unbelievably strong Terrans.
It's going to be a fun day. We will see you guys soon. Be sure to go to the Patreon and support us. It's patreon.com/ASL English. We love you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.